Like,
into the audio.
do you, I mean,
Okay,
does it matter?
setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. Okay. Oh my God.
That's where I'm going.
Oh my God.
I feel like I look like I have a pixie cut.
I think it started a new one.
I thought you just shaved the sides and just
got
went for it, man.
No.
I think it started a
No.
new one. Oh, pooper diddle.
I just got the invitation, so
I think it's a new video.
life will go on. They'll figure it out. If nothing, I'll jump into the chat and tell them to.
Okay, I'll tell him. Yeah, I'll let him know that I totally screwed the pooch. Yep, it started a whole new one.
Oh,
So I just posted, Amy, I just posted a new link to the other room.
Oh, Cooley, you are the most awesome.
extraordinaire.
I'm like, what is that?
Well, we're live. There we are.
Okay,
It's so bright.
It up. Go to the other video.
Alan K.
Sorry. So it didn't automatically connect. Darn it. Hi, Justin.
Hopper Dan, good question.
Hey,
What's
how's it going?
mean?
Okay, all right. I messed it up, Justin. It didn't connect to the live.
Ah, it's okay. We forgive
Hi,
you.
Alan.
All right. Ooh, we have another special guest coming in.
Justin.
Forrest Fenn himself.
I've tried that. It doesn't work.
You have to invite Peggy, and then he might come along.
Hey, how's it going? Cheers.
Moses. Bless me for I have sinned.
Hey, everybody in the chat. I'm really sorry. I totally messed this up, but I will do like a test run next time and figure out how to connect the two and do it properly. But I'm still watching the chat. So, okay. So shall we start?
Let's dance.
All
Let's
right.
begin.
Let's begin. So basically, major questions here. The what if it was found in Yellowstone? What if? My big question is, if it was found in Yellowstone and the guy did not turn it into the park, let's say that he just grabbed the chest and went straight to Forrest because there was something in the chest that said, bring it to Forrest first, and then, somehow legally things will be settled. Can the park still go after him? Can the government still go after him for taxes, for money, for the chest? I don't know. What are you guys' questions?
What's that? David Rice? What do you say? No comment from David or Moses. David.
How about you, Justin? Too quiet.
Oh, well, I think it's a challenging situation. If they haven't turned it in, it puts themselves in kind of a pickle in the sense that they can't do much with it afterward unless they lie about where they found it.
Yeah, I think why for total sense to me, but I couldn't imagine it being anywhere else but BLM land because that's what he said right in the book. So actually in Yellowstone, I still can't understand why the guy brought it to Forrest in the first place. So I'm still baffled by Finder brings to Forrest, Forrest becomes mouthpiece for Finder. I'm confused by that whole process just in itself.
I would have done the same thing. I would have took it right to Forrest and went, I'm freaking out. I would have absolutely took it to him. Absolutely let him inventory it and, go through it all.
Now, but that would have been in his house, right? And he obviously wasn't in his house. He was in like a very legal looking place.
Yeah, like lawyers and banks.
So, you guys, what is I don't go out onto the internet, other social media places. So I don't know what the conspiracy theories are or what's really going on. I mean, what do people think out there? What's going on out there?
I'm leading the chase in conspiracy theories. Absolutely. Absolutely. We need more conspiracy theories. First, why would anybody just bring it to Forrest and not have their own little media circus on their own and control that? Major question. Why communications are
I
happening
know why.
Hey, as same as the postmarks. Go on. Why is
Say
it
it.
why is it
Me?
coming
Yeah.
out the same? The postmarks. I don't get it.
Very likely Forrest Fenn had $100,000 bills that he was going to give to the finder. He originally wanted to put the $100,000 bills in the chest, but he figured that the bills would not last very long. I'm kind of suspecting that the finder had a note. There was a note in the chest saying, "Meet me, I will give you the treasury notes." Maybe that is why the finder went and talked to Forrest Fenn.
But wasn't the premise of this that he was always going to die? I mean, I'm glad Forrest is alive, but I always assumed.
I bet he had a backup plan. I bet that was Douglas Preston or, the plan B person, whoever was going to be, step into the chase after Forrest passed away. I'm sure he had somebody, a successor, succeeding him already planned. And so I don't see it as a problem.
Okay.
He did mention that even after his passing, there would be a way to know with certainty that the treasure has been found. And so far, that really hasn't come to light. I'm actually quite curious to see what, if anything, will come about in that regard. One possibility is that it may have been found in the park, and in the off chance that the finder took the legal route, means in 9 days, that chest will be, legally speaking, the finder's. I don't think that will happen, but in the very off chance that it will, I actually put in a Freedom of Information Act request to the National Park Service to request the lost and found forms over the past 60 days. So we'll see if
How
something
long will
turns
that
up.
take to find out?
Actually, it's moving faster than I anticipated. It did get routed to the correct contact for Yellowstone NPS. So I anticipate some sort of action within the next week or two.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Wow.
Well, it's 1 in a million, but who knows?
Never know.
It's a good theory. It's, that whole theory of a found item in Yellowstone, turn it in and, what if that's really the best, what you're supposed to do,
I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine finding
No.
a chest full of gold and being like, so you just go ahead and take that for now. I'll just wait.
Unless there were instructions to do so, unless
It'd be so hard. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's wow.
But at least we'll know for sure. I mean, yeah, keep us posted on the FOIA.
that's
Oh, sure. Yeah. Again, I don't expect much, but who knows?
No, but
interesting nonetheless.
Eliminate something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I look at it as sort of a practical reason, because if I found a treasure chest with a wide variety of items in them, and I didn't know if something was 100 years old or 200 years old or 300 years old, I would think Forrest Fenn would be the best person, with him being still alive, that you bring these things to him, say, what is this? Can you tell me what this is, where it came from? How much is it worth? The value in the items in the chest has been a debated topic for a long time. That's my sort of more practical reason for why the chest was brought to him.
But the first thing you do, I mean, you don't announce where it's found and all this. You would bring it to Forrest first.
Well, to a certain degree, I think that's a matter of paying respects to him. I mean, it's nice. I think it's a kind gesture to give him another opportunity to view what he's hidden, going on 10 years now. I think that's actually quite nice of the finder. The finder kind of baffles me, but I've tried to reserve judgment. It's still early for all intents and purposes, and it's clear that the finder has chosen to avoid the limelight, and the question is why. I mean, is he just shy, as Forrest had originally mentioned, or maybe there's more to it? Maybe there's some groundwork that needs to be laid to ensure that everything's legally speaking kosher before he can proceed, and it's
Yeah,
entirely
gotta be,
possible.
it's gotta be groundwork. I mean, I agree. I would always want to have gone through the treasure with Forrest, but to me, it seems like that would not be the first thing that I would have brought to the media. My first thing is like, da 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 da, we found it, woo! And then celebrate the just finding it, and then the how and the where. That seems to be the thing to celebrate. And then of course it would be really fun to have Forrest talk about all the items in there. It just seems like, I don't know, we're just missing something out of the whole thing. And yeah, I hope it's coming soon, right? Whatever this finder dude is, or person, or whatever.
I can mention.
Yeah, I have a high hope.
I could discuss.
Go ahead, David.
Hi. I can discuss Forrest Fenn and his body if you like.
What?
Forrest, I know, not in that way.
You mean like where he was going to?
Escalated very
His
quickly.
tits are too- So I discussed this with Douglas Preston, and Doug Preston mentioned that Forrest no longer plans on leaving his carcass where the treasure was, out of respect to his family.
Right. Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I'm so glad to hear that. I mean,
What do you think of him donating his body to the Denver Natural Science Museum, or where they have those body part exhibits and stuff?
you don't think he did that, did he?
Well, he talks about the Denver Museum, and the Denver Museum isn't there bones and stuff, and like slices of people and stuff? I don't know. I've never been there, but
That was the bodies exhibit, but I think it was traveling. I think that was the traveling one, right?
I saw it in Minneapolis, so I know it's traveling, but didn't it originate, or isn't there something with I don't know, I'll zip it, but that whole.
Okay. All right, so back to Yellowstone.
Back to Wyoming and Yellowstone.
Back to Wyoming and Yellowstone. So I guess part of, like, obviously, if we take Forrest at his word, it was found there. It was found, not in Yellowstone, it was found in Wyoming and not Montana, which crushed so many people's hearts. And and it did. And now obviously tons of people though were searching Wyoming. So we have plenty of places. Well, Justin, where in Wyoming were you searching? I know you were searching in tons of places in the Montana area as well, right?
Yeah, it's probably a shorter list of where I haven't looked. I actually tallied it up the other day. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 days of searching in the state of Wyoming. So quite a few locations. But if I were to kind of stack rank them, so to speak, in terms of areas that are most likely, just strictly, of course, in my opinion, I tend to think that it was hidden either in the park or very close to the park, personally.
Okay.
But if it was outside of the park, Cascade Corner in the southwest corner of Yellowstone is a fantastic area, and especially for someone like Forrest and myself who really enjoys fly fishing. It's a haven for fly fishers that is actually quite underfished, and most folks never visit that portion of the park because you don't go in through a normal entrance, and it's actually abuts against a Boy Scout camp. And I recall Forrest saying from time to time that kids have an edge, but he didn't want to explain why. And it'd be kind of neat to have kids, giving them a leg up in the sense that the starting point is right there at their camp, and then from there they just cross into Yellowstone. So I always like that idea. But beyond that, Sinks Canyon has always been one of my favorites, along with Sunlight Basin, as I'm sure Cynthia can attest. It's
She said she might join us.
Oh, good.
Cool.
Okay. And Davio, yours was in Wyoming as well, right?
Yes, in Medicine Bow area. That's the arch that you're always seeing all over the place, the curve, right? What else? It's off of Road 61 in School Section Mountain. right on the intersection of what do you call it? Old Maid's intersection, basically. Old Maid's Draw, it's called. And I have seen so many searchers drive by. This is a dirt road. There's no cell phone reception. You are way out there. And I'm on Indian Creek, and it is in the shape of a silhouette of someone's face, just like that part of your face as your nose into your mouth. And it's like right under your nose, hey, where there's a will, there's so all the phenisms or jokes you would get from Fenn are all landing right there. And this information that I got from when he says listen good, doesn't anybody think of decibel levels? Only us audio guys.
Davio audio.
dB, yeah, Davio audio. dB is 105 on the periodic table, and the thing weighs 42 pounds. I'm at 42,105 at latitude, longitude, and that repeats and repeats and repeats those numbers. Oh. So I got 4 or 5 places where look at the gypsies. There's 2 places in the books where there's gypsies, right? On page 42 and page 105, the painting of the gypsy and then the gypsy fire. So it's kind of there's continuity like that. There's cohesiveness of information.
I like that cohesiveness of information because we needed more of that.
My key word is showed up in 5 places. The one that was the most obvious is by making your own glossary, and where there is no post, the word William.
I made my own glossary.
And you see how there's no. See how I spelled the name William right away?
Yes.
And
yes, and a win. There was a win with the drop caps, and William was spelled 2 different ways depending on how you organize the
letters that were missing. And then also it said, then it totaled up to 79. The chapter numbers that are missing. So when you spelled William, if you told up the numbers, you'd get 79. So it was a way of knowing, so what you would know that you had them right. I thought that was really clever of the fucking guy.
Right? I mean, what are we gonna do when the solve eventually comes out and all of us find out whether or not we were this close or this close?
Well, it would for me to be.
What are we gonna do? I mean, right now we're all in second place. Yeah, wonderful.
Where do I cash that check?
Yeah. If you're not first, you're last, baby.
God damn it, I'm on a check. Yeah, I know.
Who else had Wyoming? Who else had Wyoming as a potential? That's right, Candy, you did too, didn't you? Where was yours?
Basically, I was obsessed with the Firehole area. But around the end of it, I actually gravitated more towards Icebox Canyon, which I could see Alan totally teasing me about that right now. It's so funny. But when I with Digging Gypsy, she kind of just convinced me to go more over to Hebgen. So I was always torn between Hebgen and the Firehole, Wyoming area. But the only other one I liked is the one Justin was talking about too, was Sinks Canyon. And when I mentioned that to her, she was like, no, it's all ghetto over there now. So I was like, oh, that doesn't sound
ghetto.
Right. Yeah, she said it's really ghetto. Like when she
Not
was there.
in the slightest. I can guarantee it.
I don't know how a national park gets ghetto.
No, not the park itself, the area around it, like the reservation and everything. She said there was like some scary looking people and there's some gangs and stuff. I was like, oh, thank you. I don't like it either.
There's Sinks Canyon? No, it's it's a small town of Lander. Probably the nicest town I've ever been to. And the surrounding area of Sinks Canyon, I mean, it's a state park, but beyond the state park boundaries, it's just national forest land. It's
no Starbucks. Makes it dodgy. No Starbucks, questionable. Yep.
Maybe it's not fenny as Toby likes to say. So that fenny.
Fenny.
Well, I do recall Toby being in Sinks Canyon saying this feels fenny on one of his videos. So.
Yeah. I wonder if we do find out what the solve is, I wonder if we're gonna think it's fenny or we're gonna be like, nope, that's wrong.
I personally feel the closer, if it's found 5 feet from where I think it is, I feel great.
Yeah.
Because it would be acknowledging all the work I did. I would feel good. If in other words, if it came out that was in Santa Fe, I would have been crushed.
See, I'm the opposite. For me, if he had announced that it was found in Colorado, given that I searched the absolute least in Colorado, I could come to terms with that. It's like, you know what? I wasn't smart enough. I couldn't figure this out. I'm okay with that. But if I walked right over the top of it, it's going to be an entirely different story.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Two totally different opinions there. I love that.
For me, it's that I was at least I was on the right cookie, the right path, following the right crumbs, maybe, right? I mean, my warm water halt is the shrine in Colorado. That's a warm water halts because that's the Blaze, right? The address of that place and Wiley Post, the pilot, the wing number 105, the address 42, got me to fucking
242.
yeah.
K-Pro in the chat quickly said, in my opinion, the solve is not coming out. Now, I have to say, so what are,
She's right. It's not coming out.
why would it not come out? Like, what would be the reasons why it wouldn't come out? That's why, I mean, potentially I'm like, well, if it was in Yellowstone and the person is terrified they're going to take the chest away, maybe that's why it wouldn't come out. Because they didn't go through whatever channels they were supposed to go through or something like that. But I don't know why wouldn't it come out? What would it harm the finder if it did?
Well, what if it's more like what everybody is saying? There's something in the chest that made the guy go to Forrest. Okay, so the guy goes to Forrest and he gets a stack of $100,000 bills. Touchdown. Well, maybe the second part is that you don't get to resolve. You don't get to tell the world the solve. It's in my will. Get it? Will. Ha ha ha. It could be something as silly as that the world doesn't know until he's gone. It's part of his legacy continues after he's dead. Something silly like that. Maybe it's.
But what would be the purpose of it? So, like, we have to ask, what is the purpose of that? Why wait till he's dead to release the solve? What is accomplished by doing that?
Wow, be a bunch of different things.
Sorry.
One would be the story. I mean, the way I see that I've been figuring this out has been really tiny pieces, really having a hard time keeping a continuity. The continuity is probably a story. What if, Forrest has had some torrid love affair, right? And it's being expressed in movies and he's talking about movie titles, which is this and that. I mean, I don't know. I've seen a lot of soap operas.
So I guess everything for me has to have a purpose, right? So a reason or a purpose. Like if someone's mad, they're going to yell at you. If somebody's sad, they're going to cry, right? If somebody's not releasing the solve, there has to be a reason for it.
I think there are viable reasons. I mean, one that comes to mind is, let's say, in the off chance it was found on private property that was, through some means owned by Forrest. If there's a title transfer in process, it's smart for the finder to remain silent, because what that avoids is a lot of legal calamity. Someone could come in and sue and say, hold on, no, this guy didn't find it. I found it and I want this land. Waiting until all the dust settles, the title's transferred, that sort of thing, gives him a lot of legal assurances. I think there are viable reasons for him to be silent at this time.
What if the finder was somebody who was on Facebook, our different Facebook chat groups, and they were saying, I found it, like I'm onto it, I found it. And we were all just so negative about their reaction to being close to finding it that maybe they decided, screw you guys, you don't need to know the solution because I tried telling it to you and you wouldn't believe me. I could see it happen. I could see someone salty because of that. So
yeah.
So how long? So we know that there's money to be made if he came forward, if he released the solve. So
yeah.
Like, why not eventually do it? Like in a year, like what kind of statutes legally how long would he wait to try and avoid as much as he could and still make some money off of it? Because I mean, as much as the chest is worth, until you start selling it off, it's not worth anything, technically.
And is the story worth more than the chest, right?
Huh?
Is the story worth more than, $5 million? That
it could be.
That's
it could be.
I think it could be
if you marketed it
right.
But that's where I get like if you never release it, it seems like eventually it's going to come out. eventually there will no longer be a legal issue to be had. But I don't know what's, how long that would take. Is it a year? Is it 10 years?
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not an issue until it's challenged. You know what I mean? That's kind of how things go. If nobody really challenges or gives you any grief, then right, you
Right,
go
but legally, sometimes there's what is statute of limitations? Is that the right term?
that and property escrows and all that sort of thing. If there was big properties, yeah, I could see that.
So if legally no one could go after you after a certain point, why wouldn't you release it?
Yeah, and there's probably some
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
unscrupulous ways or methods going on here too. I mean, possibly like one situation could be, let's say the finder, he found it in Yellowstone, and he doesn't want to turn it into the Park Service. He doesn't want to be taxed. And if he came out and said it was found elsewhere, Forrest, I think, would probably reject that statement and say, actually, that's not true. I didn't hide it there. So, let's say he waits until Forrest passing, and then the finder says, I found it somewhere completely different than where he actually found it, in order to avoid some sort of tax implication. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities.
I hadn't thought about that one. He could lie his little buns off if he waited until after Forrest passed.
Then no one.
Oh.
Quite unfortunate.
The finder still has the treasure, right?
We assume so, right? Does anyone disagree?
Well, why was half the treasure missing?
There's so many photograph, right? Where's
The other half was still in the box. It was just when they took the photo.
I don't know. A lot of people think that there's something going on and what looked to be only gold and other than the bracelet. It looked like just gold in there. And you know how he said I gave the title to the gold.
But he took everything else out, didn't he? The gem, he took the Goonies stuff out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mean it wasn't there for 10 years? The jewels and gems and diamonds and stuff was never in the ground or never in the box?
Well, he said that there was some big gems, and in the last second he decided to take them out and put like other things in, like the collectible coins and stuff. But he still said that there was rubies and different gems. It says it in the book.
Exactly. The inventory in the book said that there was at least diamonds and rubies and gems.
The Ceylon sapphire.
Yes. The dragon bracelet.
And it's
Dragon
possible
bracelet had all those gems
visible in the photo, right? I mean, you couldn't see the bottom of the chest, and then at the office when the contents were laid out, I mean, yeah, you could see a subset of what was there, but it's entirely possible there was still other stuff in the chest that was still coming out.
And then there was like these mirrors or these flat gold discs that were not in the inventory that were in there that they talked about.
Well, no, he talked about those. Those were the mirrors. Those were the
Mayan or Colombian, yeah, pre-Columbian, something.
Oh, mirror. Oh,
made out of gold. I'd like that mirror.
Yeah, I look way better in a mirror.
Yeah, I'll take that mirror. So, I mean, and there were a lot of people, obviously, the conspiracy theories went nuts, of course, when those photos were released. But I've been a photographer for a while, and knowing that some of those were shot, with wide angle lenses and stuff like that, the mirrors look bigger because they're in the foreground. And the chest looks smaller. So it's like, oh, those mirrors never would have fit in there. And I'm like, well, with a wide angle lens, that actually kind of fits.
Yeah. Little option,
Yeah. And I'm not even sure about the warping of the chest, because that looked like a wide angle issue as well, taken from a phone or something like that. But oh, hey, we got a screen sharing.
Cool.
Oh,
a kitty.
Yay, kitties.
Hello, kitty cat.
Nice little kitty.
And everyone went, aw. Nice, David.
Very funny.
Hey, Amy, Capro had a comment in the chat a while back that says, what if it is not turned in via lost and found forms? She's talking about turning it into the park or to the Yellowstone Park, but the finder was seen as breaking the law while retrieving it. a FOIA could be filed for that information, but would not be in his FOIA. What does that mean?
Need a separate FOIA for that sucker? Dang.
Yeah, I'm sure they do have write-ups for, I don't know if it would be considered like a written violation. They probably have specific forms for that in the park that you could request. Yeah.
Yeah, I am curious to see how the finder, if it was in Yellowstone, wasn't certain parts of Yellowstone shut down during the time frame that they said the chest was found? Because I
Yeah.
remember Cynthia over to Icebox and she couldn't get there because it was shut down. So I'm not saying Icebox can, but I'm saying is what if the chest was there and that's why legally they're not allowed to talk about it because he's in a shit ton of trouble.
I know
Ooh.
they had different entrances that were shut down, but and perhaps some roads as well. So yeah, you might be right. There may be sections that were effectively off limits. Yeah.
Wow.
Legally, it just could be such a mess if it was found in Yellowstone. I mean, I'm guessing that if I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if the government wanted to go after him, if the national park system wanted to go after him, they could probably find something somewhere to be able to do that, right?
Right.
You know, to try and claim some portion of it, or in some way get a chunk of that. I mean, when it comes to money, people get
Well, lawyers in love, right? I mean, they can do whatever. Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's only showing the gold, because the gold is a natural resource, so maybe there's something about the law and the contents of the chest, and that's why he never took pictures of all of it.
Well, I know if I would have found it, I would have just taken half of it out, chucked it in my backpack, and then taken a picture. Oh, it's empty. I don't know what happened. Oh no, just a few coins.
I think
Dropped it in the water.
Hundreds of gems don't take up much space. That is true.
that's right.
Hundreds of gems.
Or as Cynthia said, what is it? Check my prison hole, or what was the
Oh.
thing Cynthia said?
My prison wallet.
Prison wallet.
You went there.
He said, check if anything happens to me, check my prison wallet.
Brutal.
I think I saw that in an old 80s movie too, where the thief would take the thing out and eat it. And yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
The comment April was talking about, she says there's pics of it. She might add during the raid, but right after the raid happened, that's when he decided to go hide it. But before he did that, that's when he started changing things and taking things out, things in. So I don't know if the picture from before the raid.
I always thought the location had massive significance, and maybe that is part of what's coming next. In other words, maybe there's a historical significance to the actual location, and it is a not well known location about said whatever historical event, And I'm always been talking about the Lakota Sioux and the origins of where they come from, and he's the guy that took the sheriff's cabin and brought it from the res and put it at Cody. So he's really into those spaces that become where art happened, become sacred places. I mean, the origins of where Lakota Sioux dog soldier, is that a significant place that he would want to bring to light? I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
the thing is, though, if he did want to bring it to light, that's so not happening right now, right?
But
not
I mean,
yet. Not yet.
Like
Right.
maybe after he dies, kind of thing. I hate saying that.
No, like in a couple months or something. I mean,
what if there's something? There could be something going on that something about the place. I mean, can you guys see that dog?
Oh, the dog rock.
Right. I mean, this.
Obvious dog rock.
You know how when he talked about hanging out with his little dog Pip with a window, and there's two of these kind of rocks. Well, actually, there's three of these kind of rocks in this place, and that nose, by the way, has been carved, which I found really interesting. It's not really a thick piece of rock, so it's been shaped into that, which I'm tripping out. So here I am, I find this crazy place in Wyoming, and I'm looking at this, and I thought maybe the location had something to do with the Lakota Sioux dog soldier, and that's where they got their name. They're looking at dogs. That was my, that was my idea. Because I have
Right.
other images of dogs in the one same spot. I mean, how bizarre. Think of the odds, man.
Now you're sounding like all the other treasure hunters. It's always like, what are the odds that this could have happened? And I feel the same way about some of the stuff I found. But I'm just like, obviously, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do when this all comes out. I'm either going to be, well, I mean, 99.9% most likely I'm going to be very sad. That's just,
I don't know if the solve's ever gonna come out, you guys. Honestly.
Oh, you're with K-Pro on that one. You don't think it's gonna? How
Yeah.
close? I mean, what
Asked him
information do you
a
think
couple
is
of
gonna
days
come out?
ago if he
One.
would be able to tell us where in the poem the clues were, not the answers, but just where they were, and he said he couldn't do that.
Nice, David.
You're saying he couldn't even do that part?
Forrest,
Yeah, I was asking him. I'm like, hey, I want to still try and solve your poem without, you giving it away. So I was like, is there a way you could tell us where the clues were in the poem? Like, highlight what were the clues, so maybe we could actually know what we're doing. And
Yeah.
I was allowed to do that, and he's like, you can't.
and he can't. And since there's nothing left at the spot, even if we did solve it, we wouldn't know.
Well, the whole reason I did this is so I could just figure out how he did it. Like, I wanted to solve it to understand how he constructed this.
Yeah,
And that's what I was looking forward to the most. I wasn't looking forward to the treasure or anything like that. I wanted to see how he constructed this riddle / poem and all the little Easter eggs and little hints he created in the book, because I create my own hunts. And it's like, I get a thrill off of that.
Yeah.
So the finder thinks
The
he's being
mechanics,
by
the
telling us
mechanics
date.
of how it was
come
put
out-
together.
Oh.
So no mechanics. Is what you're saying.
Oh, sorry. Chimed in yet? I missed.
Weird, Candy. I can't believe that he would. So you're saying that the finder then owns all of the parts that get you to said answers.
I have no idea. Honestly, I know that Ben
Wow.
probably tell us stuff, but he can't because he's strict to his word. Like, he promised, like how he said in K-Pro's documentary, if the finder wants him to keep quiet, he would keep quiet because he's respecting the finder's wishes. But like, again, I think the finder had it figured out back in 2019 when Fenn said February 3rd, his gut feeling was that it was going to be found that summer. And then lo and behold, it started going away, my gut feeling wavering. But really what was happening, just waiting for the finder to get off the butt and go out there and get it. So I think it's been over since February of, but he was just trying to keep us, a little bit more magic alive before it ended.
Or keeping people from dying.
Yeah, but I mean, again, those people did that. They were grown adults. They went out there not prepared. That's not anyone's fault.
No, of course not. No.
I have a quick request from Redneck Express.
Redneck.
David, he wants to know your opinion on the state of the chase.
Current state of the chase?
Burning.
Wow. It's in flux. It's what you say, Candy?
Burning. It's that little meme with the dogs in the bar, and he's like, everything's fine. This is fine. And it's like all of it's burning.
I'm finding it interesting that the releases of information have been a day away from the postmarks. The very postmark that is on the treasure chest, 6/5, and he releases out on 6/6/2020 with the vision of looking back, perhaps. So I just found it interesting that we have these dates that are a day away, and then the second one is only a day away from the other postmark, which I found interesting as well. And 9 o'clock at night. I just think that is odd that they come out at 9 o'clock at night. And I thought if there was any, in other words, is there a way of predicting the next time he's going to make an announcement by the information that's already come out? I've numbered the poem, and the first, the 158th word in the poem is treasure. The second one that's come out at 2:04. There's a whole bunch of information around. It's just really interesting.
Well, I have a quick question. Did you all notice that the story Father on the Bonco had exactly 166 words like the poem and 9 sentences like the poem.
Wow. I didn't know.
Ah,
I knew the words, but I didn't see the lines. That's brilliant. That's very cool. Wow.
That's the kind of stuff I looked for. That's why I was an armchair searcher, is I was looking for things that were very useful as far as taking information and, you know, disseminating it and disguising it. So the Bonko story was very fun because I'm like, wow, that matches the poem exactly.
So that would be a continuity of information that maybe Father on the Banco is a more relevant chapter. Ha 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 ha. Whisker pull.
Yeah.
I think
But, yeah,
you're
but
engaging in.
what's that desert file?
I'm grabbing some alcohol.
I think
Come on, Candy.
Join
Davio, I
me.
think, is engaging.
Somebody got engaged. What happened?
Go ahead, desert file. We're listening. It's a little choppy since your internet's a little harsh out there.
Oh, he's out there in the internet land.
Look up confirmation bias. I mean,
Yeah.
all of your amazing discoveries, that's confirmation bias because you're looking from behind and not from ahead. So you can fit whatever you want into whatever you want and then say, oh, hey, that's it. Oh,
Yep. Along with epiphanies and Sunday morning quarterbacks. I know, it's brutal. It's brutal. That's why I made that video of all my work, is because I'm like, I have to do it now before any information comes out. And then I can be honest with myself about when this all comes out, where was I really?
I'm not at that point yet. It would probably take days to unload it all anyway. So
It's
yeah, it
to
is
me
what
though,
it is.
it's very important. You don't feel it was a waste, do you? It was not a waste of your time. You learn things, right?
Did
Uh-oh.
learn.
Not a waste in any way. I mean,
Okay, Justin says it's not a waste. That's good.
no.
Justin went boots on the ground. I was so jealous.
Well, what was stopping you?
I hadn't solved it yet.
That's fair. Yeah, to me, it was just a wonderful day out in the woods. I'd find an excuse to be out there either way. So,
Yeah. Yes, I was always jealous of boots on the ground searchers because I'm like, I haven't solved it yet.
Don't be jealous. I thought I was gonna die every 5 seconds.
What? Where were you?
Well, I was in Hebgen. So I was like literally just keeping my ears alert just in case a mama bear would like submerge out of the freaking trees or something. And when I went up to the dilapidated cabin on Beaver Creek, I went to go poke my head in there, and all of a sudden I found, and then all these bees started attacking me, like literally flying around my head, and I'm petrified.
Oh my God.
Way, and I fell down the hill.
Oh my God.
This is how great stories are made, is exactly this way.
Good point.
We went up, we went up the mountain, Rumba Creek, and while we were going up, these kids in this pickup truck were coming down, and there's only one way, and we're just like, shit. And so my boyfriend's like trying to turn around, and he has to go all the way to the edge of the mountain where we're like halfway hanging off a mountain, and I'm like, this is fine, everything's fine. And then we get all the way up, and it's too flooded and past where I wanted to go. So then I go to the actual Rumba Creek, and I get pulled over by one of those park rangers or whatever they're called outside of the park. And he just was like, you're in trouble, because he looks in the car and and he's like, oh, you're one of those. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So they're like, what are you doing? Why are you at this creek? And I'm like, I'm trying to collect Rumba Creek water for Forrest Fenn because he asked us to in one of his emails. And they're like, Forrest Fenn? I'm like, yeah, I just came back from his house and I wanted to bring Rumba Creek water. And he's like, I don't believe you. Let me see it. And like my boyfriend came up right at that moment, and he had Rumba Creek water in this little gold souvenir thing I bought. And he was just like, okay, you're special.
Did anyone else experience that? Running into people and saying what you were actually doing?
he told me so many stories. The ranger dude, he was like, he was the guy that found the guy last year that died at Beaver Creek because of the bears. And then he was also the guy that stopped someone from blowing up the Firehole River with dynamite. Like, he's the story guy told me, and he's like, "This is why we don't like you guys." And I'm like, "Well, I'm a sane searcher, so."
Dynamite.
And
Really?
then story was that these two guys had their truck up. I forgot where it was, but they tried putting chains on top of this huge boulder because they thought the chest was under the boulder. So they
Fenn
the
did it.
truck lift it, and the boulder ended up falling and taking the truck with it. And the one guy was like missing for like 2 days or something, and he ended up finally finding his way back, and he was like severely dehydrated, and the medic team was like there right on the spot, and if they weren't there he would have died. I was just like, Jesus, no one
That's a little bit why the Beale treasure hunts scare me a bit, because if they get too popular, I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be a mess. We're gonna have to do whole video classes on how not to die in the wilderness.
Oh God, no thank you. And like the real Indiana Jones too. At least Fenn was like, I walked somewhere after I just got over chemotherapy cancer and put a chair on the floor. And he's like, here's the cave, and I had to hire this guy called the Spider Monkey to put it in here. And it's like, is he gonna be sitting there waiting for me to go get it? Like,
yeah, I know. Has anyone else, Justin, have you seen the Beale hunts?
I have, yeah. I haven't looked into it deeply, but
Real
I just
quick,
know about it on the
Desert
surface.
File is heading out. Desert File, thank you for joining. I love your cats. I think they're adorable.
It was a pleasure, and I know precisely where the treasure was hid.
roosters galore.
All right, sorry, Justin. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I only know about it on the surface. I just heard the basics.
Yeah. It's a little bit like Forrest. He's just like, it's like the antithesis of what the Forrest fenn hunt was. It's really just fly by the seat of your pants, get to a spot, start looking, look for stuff, look for removable marks on trees, not non-removable marks. It's all the opposite, but that's also kind of the fun in it. It is such an exciting, like going after it kind of a thing. So I think if you get into it, I think it's going to be a separate type of thrill. And I love metal detecting. So.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the thing that kind of turned me off was that, as I understand it, you have to pay extra to get like some special clue or something, and
that's not a guarantee
anymore. And that was my.
I know. Okay, so just let's dispel this. So it's not a guarantee that that's what is going to happen. And
okay.
She's like, that was my fault.
That was why
she was trying to be helpful
with marketing schemes. Okay.
Candy was trying to help H with marketing schemes on how to like get books out there and get everything excited and all this other kind of stuff. And she was the one who actually suggested, well, maybe put in like an extra clue in this type of book and all that stuff.
Another treasure hunt in Canada. It was called like something, I forgot what it's called. Anyways, Cape Run called. But it started off in Canada and it like blew up overnight. It was a CBD company, like a weed company, came up with treasure hunt of like $100,000, and they sold a map. And to be ahead of the game, you can buy a package that came up with like one extra clue to figure it out before someone else. So
isn't that the same company that had to shut down recently?
Yeah, because someone hacked into their system and found
it.
That's what I'm like, is it that easy?
So that might not be the case with the Gallows Harbor hunt. We won't know until, we know more information. And Beale hasn't spoken really too much lately about anything, right?
I talked to him today.
He did?
Go on the show this Friday that myself and Shannon are doing with the treasure hunt creators. But I also saw, can someone please kick Rationalistic out of the chat before I lose my shit? He's being so disrespectful and rude.
Okay,
ignore him.
Wait, no, hold on one second. Rationalistic, and I really mean this wholeheartedly. You can beat up on me as much as you like. I am cool with that. You can say whatever you like, but just not the other people.
Ah, that's not
Um,
cool either.
No, I'm told no. It's okay. Like vent on me is totally cool. So rationalistic, vent on me all you want. That's cool. You can say whatever you like as long as it's, friendly and not, it's got to be kid friendly. So, you're ugly, I hate you, all that stuff, that's fine. But not the other people. That's all I ask for you to stay in the chat. That's all I ask. Okay. All right, moving on. So go ahead, Candy.
Cheers,
Oh,
rationalistic.
had
Fuck.
a great idea. Aiden came out saying that he will be releasing a special video for everyone who decides to register, like pre-register for Kickstarter. And the video is going to be showing where, like, a clue and where he's hiding one of his treasure chests. So I think he might go on the show Friday to talk about that, but it's going to be password protected, and you can only do it if you're registered to his forum, like the blog, and then also the Kickstarter.
So is that technically an extra clue or just like a head start kind of thing?
I'm not sure, because he was just saying, like, the video showing him and Lonnie hiding one of the chests. So I know someone found, I think it was the Outlaw cache or something. They ended up finding where it was hidden because of an old video he posted from a while back. So there's a possibility to use that video to find where he put this one. I'm not sure. I'm actually not even a part of this one. So I'm just learning about it.
Right. Yeah, he did have that on Facebook. That is the only reason I went on Facebook. So many treasure hunts. I'm like, and they're all on Facebook. Dang it. I finally had to sign up for Facebook and I still keep messing it up. People are friending me and I'm like, why do you want to friend me?
I agree. What? What do you want to? Or,
I'm like,
or you open it up and it says, "How do you feel today?" I feel like shit. What do you want? Why are you asking?
I feel terrible. Make it better. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Okay. So
You have like 100 a day.
What's that?
Like when you wake up, you do is like you see on your Facebook is like you have new friend requests, and it's like 100 random people you don't know, and you're just like, I don't know if you try and steal my face or if you just want to know, or want to be my friend.
Okay, Candy, you are going to have to lesson me on Facebook because I'm just accepting everybody as a friend. I don't know.
Don't do it. I learned that crap the hard way. Do not do it. There's some psychos out there.
Oh, shoot. I'm already in trouble. I've already messed it up. All right. Okay, back to the Yellowstone. Okay, so I want a quick AJ Rainville viewpoint of the potential of it being in Yellowstone because he was not a searcher.
I'm just an interested observer. I'm not a searcher.
But that's what I'm saying. What do you think about the potential of it being in Yellowstone and the finder not coming forth because of some legal something?
I've spent more time watching like AGK videos and Calazar videos and live streams. And I believe it was an AGK video. They talked about how it is very difficult to legally hide something in a national park. I think Toby looked at some opinions from I think 2 different lawyers on the different rules, and he did his own research, and he's like, it seems like it's not worth it, or the trying to hide something and then claim it as the different things, a trove or lost, or it seemed like it was unlikely just from what I've heard. That's all I can add to it.
Lots of hangups, lots of tricky legal stuff. Yeah.
I did something similar in the sense that I just went to each of the search states and found larger law firms that specialize in property tax and estate planning and that sort of thing, and walk them through the hypothetical. Let's say I'm this eccentric guy who wants to hide something of value. Where can I do this and get away with it, legally speaking? And it's interesting conversation. I mean, it varied by state, but generally the conversation would go, oh, well, the best thing to do is you could lease land from someone with exclusive renewal rights, and then no one would be none the wiser. You could pull out insurance policy, all that fun stuff. But then I would say, well, hold on. The timeline is indeterminate. It could be, say, another 1,500 years before someone finds this.
Yeah.
That changes everything. in that case, the land designations that make sense for something in a grander scale of time are very different than something that has a prescribed timeline. I think that actually plays a major role in terms of choosing the type of land to hide it on.
So what do you think about Forrest obviously having said that it didn't matter, he was going to make it work? You know, do you think he got some legal loophole in play and that's why we see the treasure chest in a legal office?
That's what's so challenging is like the practical person would say, well, I need to do some research and find a type of land to hide this. But Forrest said, I knew where I wanted to hide it from the beginning, which kind of tells me, like you mentioned, he was going to make it work come hell or high water. So that presents a lot of legal challenges, and I'm sure that if the story ever comes out, that we'll get more info on how that unfolded. But if he decided from the beginning it was going to be in a national park, I think when I first started searching, I thought, boy, national park, that would be crazy for someone to hide it in there. But I actually went full circle on that, and in the end, I felt like, boy, actually, it makes a lot of sense, and the reason is because of the volatility of the land. National Forest Service, BLM, these types of lands are volatile in the sense that they give mining rights. They allow people to strip it of forestry products and so forth, and that presents a lot of challenges in the long term. Whereas a national park, you have a guarantee, a pretty strong guarantee for at least the foreseeable future. Things are going to be okay, and that land is going to remain untouched, and that is critical for a hunt of this magnitude and that sort of time scale.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
agreed.
know, I Googled today just to see if there were BML lands within Yellowstone National Park. And I did see that the Clark Fork River, there's an area that is surrounded, it looks like it's surrounded with natural or the Yellowstone Park, but yet it's BLM land nestled in there. So I find that very interesting.
There are some oddities with property. Like, for instance, there's like this mining claim that's been in my family a long time, and it's surrounded on all sides by the Forest Service. So it's kind of landlocked, but it's private property. So those types of anomalies do exist, but they're few and far between, I think. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you, Justin, like, what is your best guess at where it was found based off of what we have seen so far with the legal office photograph and the Wyoming? That's our basic knowledge. We have a legal office setting. We have the Wyoming. We have Forrest saying something's important to the story. We have a Vimeo that says when the person opens the chest, they're going to say, what have I gotten myself into?
Well, it's really tough to say. I'm a fan of the park at this point. I think there's a high likelihood that it was found either in the park or close to it. I seem to recall, was it the Ford Motor Company at some point did some sort of promotion where they hid vehicles in the US with the keys in them, and if you found one, you get to keep the car. And yeah, and I just vaguely recall this. And so they, of course, consulted with attorneys to find out, well, where can we do this? And they wanted to do it in the national park. But what they were advised was that you can't, but it's okay to do it right outside the boundary. And as I recall, and I could be off base here, the vehicles were hidden just outside the national park boundaries on national forest land because they felt that was pretty good odds just in terms of legal reasons. So, yeah.
Interesting. See, I have to say I'm leaning towards Yellowstone, but that's just because that's part of what I was leaning towards when I was working on it. So I am definitely biased. And I still but I was really thinking Hepkin Lake area. I was really thinking that Digging Gypsy was on to, I'm like, yeah, Cabin Creek or Beaver Creek.
Beaver Creek.
Yeah, I really thought that was a good area because if you go up on the hill just a little bit, it's like this amazing view of West Yellowstone, and it's right in the line of the elevation you're supposed to be in. And I thought that's a great place. And then it was Wyoming.
Could actually see like Fenn being a smartass and saying it was found in Wyoming because the solve was Montana, but then like right at the border of wherever it was like on the edge of Wyoming, it's like it was found in Wyoming. Like, I would do that.
And Ben, are you being a smart ass? In case you're watching. Ooh, ooh.
We also need to keep in mind that it's entirely possible that one or more clues were outside of Wyoming. You know, maybe your hunt starts in Montana. We can't say for certain.
I have
My
a
guess
solve.
is always the
Good
Madison
point.
Arm. Go ahead. Sorry. Hecky.
Oh, it was a good point that
Oh,
the beginning or the where warm waters halt doesn't necessarily have to be in Wyoming. It just ends up in Wyoming, what we know. So it depends on your interpretation of the poem, how far that distance is between, you know, your principal place on the map, your starting point, your where warm waters halt to the end of the poem, you know. Like I know Davio, he starts in Colorado and ends up in Wyoming. And I mean, it could start anywhere,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, there you go.
It could
Have to-
start at the bookstore in Santa Fe.
I know somebody who had a solve like that. Okay, I have to ask Justin, where are you? I see lumberjacking equipment behind you on a log facade.
Those are my grandfather's old tools. He was a fishing game warden. I'm in Montana, small town out in the middle of nowhere right now.
Awesome.
Well, let me just say for the whole group, we're jealous.
Well, come on up. We can have a party here. It's social distancing at its best. There's no one for miles.
I know how you feel. Yeah, that's how my place is. There's no one for a while. Well, that's super cool. What are you doing up there? Are you still looking?
No, I spend the summers up here. It's just too hot down in Texas. So a lot of fishing, you know. It's quiet. It's a good place to think.
Texas is very hot.
Awesome.
Yes, I used to live in Houston.
Oh my, yes, that's much hotter than Austin. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yes, and much more humid. It's rough. All right, you heard that, everyone. Let's go head up to Montana and visit Justin.
Yeah, come on up. It's
I take it you're going to be making it to the meetup.
I plan on it. Yeah, it'd be nice to
Nice.
see everybody.
Very nice. Is anyone else going to be able to make it? Anyone in the chat? I'll say as well.
I'm trying to convince my boyfriend to go.
I know it's going to kill me not to
Like-
be there.
3-day stay in Las Vegas with a Lamborghini to rent if he would go.
Ooh, I would love that. For anyone who is not familiar, Justin was the sweet person and the crazy person really to invite us up to at the World Series of Fenn to a little like a fun, I don't know, what do you call it, Justin?
Call it what you will. I don't really know, but it was nice to see
like
everybody.
It was like a neat suite kind of thing. It had a cool view, and he had a little buffet set out for us, which honestly I could have spent the whole night at the buffet because it had like honey and prosciutto.
I'm a huge honey fan, so.
Oh, we saw the video a little bit.
Oh, that's right. That's right. There was a video.
April shared that with us. It looked awesome.
I just couldn't believe he invited us up. I'm like, oh, you guys are crazy. Like, you poor things.
So I'm eccentric. Don't get me wrong. Maybe not as eccentric as Forrest. I don't know, but it was great to meet everybody.
Maybe you'll get there in due time.
Yeah, it just takes time. Yeah, it's like a fine wine.
And so I've actually met a lot of people who are still searching for the treasure. But what I don't understand is if there's nothing left at the spot, how will you ever know if you're right unless the solve eventually comes out? So like, let's say it's in Yellowstone. Let's say you're looking for it and you think you found the spot. But if the treasure chest was entombed or because, we know it's not buried. He's made it very clear it was not buried.
Right.
But even if it was entombed or just sat there, how would you ever know that was the spot? It's like without the solve, we truly are in the dark. There's like no possible way to truly know.
That's a question I always wanted to pose to Forrest was, since the treasure's been found, would there be a way, could he tell us something in the area that is unique enough where folks that want to continue to hunt just for the thrill of it, the fun of it, they could have some sort of confirmation when they get there?
Yeah. And what did he say?
Oh, I haven't asked him.
Oh, you didn't
I just
actually
thought it would
ask
be
him.
neat to pose that question.
Okay, Forrest, we're asking you right now.
Yes.
Well,
Please.
if the Saul was based off of his childhood, his love of his childhood memories, was it linked to his family, or was it linked to something historical that he found interesting as a kid? Because there's different categories that could take you different ways. Like, for instance, his love of Yellowstone and being a kid and always going out searching when he was 12, 13, that's like Firehole in West Yellowstone area. And
Yeah.
then you got his dad and all the amazing fishing trips in Montana and everything. And then you have his whole life after he became like this rookie archaeologist and how he got into all of this Indian lore, and it's just crazy. So it takes you all over the place, and you just want to know, what was it that made you want to do this in the first place, aside from knowing you were going to die?
Yeah. I mean, not knowing why that spot was special to him. And this is what kills me. Okay, this is what kills me. It had to be a fairly ingenious solution, right? If you create something like that, how are you okay with it never being known that you did it? How are you okay with never never having been known to have done this? Like, wow, that was it? That's how it was solved? How like, I mean, the rogue of Santa Fe is being silenced by the shy guy from back east. It's just crazy. It just is, it's the weirdest situation to be in. And I just can't imagine that somebody who put 15 years into something is so, at peace with it never coming out, with him, with that genius never being known. I don't know. What do you
Well,
guys
we don't
think?
know that's the case, you know? He's leaving it up to the finder, and however long it takes the finder to finish the story is how long we have to wait.
Yeah.
I
What
don't
if-
think he anticipated it ending this way. I
Really.
Really?
personally, I think that he felt that the finder would want to scream it from the mountaintops or be a bit more public than what's come about so far. Unless, again, there's some sort of something legal going on in the background that we're just waiting on. But I can't help but think he might be a bit disappointed at that aspect. It's almost like unfinished business, so to speak. Yeah.
Thank you. Totally unfinished business, for crying out loud. This is I did she did I was good, and then and I paid for reservations, but she never showed. It's you know what I mean. It just feels like an unfinished sentence. It feels like a breath not caught. It just is. It's such a strange thing. I do have a theory. Forrest has got another name, and it's called Finder. And Forrest actually retrieved it so no one else dies. And this is now we're in the second act of the search, which is, until he dies. So the first act was 10 plus 1 years, and now we're in the second act. The third act is, yeah, I'm making stuff up. I'm following Shakespeare here. I don't know.
The conspiracy theories, conspiracy theories are really sexy. They just are. Let's admit it. They're exciting. They're sexy, and they're completely comforting, but they're just rarely true. But yeah, they're so much fun. And boy, do I wish some of those were true. I wish some of them were so true, like there's a second place prize, like there's something still there, all of those, because just like all of you, and I'm very clear at stating this, I'm heartbroken. This was a once in a lifetime opportunity for all of us.
Again, call me eccentric, but my plan all along had been, if in the astronomically low chance that I happened upon that thing, my plan was to rehide it. I really did want to do that. I thought it'd be neat to just kind of keep the momentum going and just add a bit of a twist to it, So yeah, it was, of course, it's a letdown for everyone who didn't find it, everyone but the finder. But
well,
there'll
especially
be a
now
next
that we
time.
know you would have re-hit it. Now we're
Well, it's plan B now, I think. At some point I do plan to set something up, but that actually takes a lot of time and planning. So
Heartbroken.
obviously, right? 15 years.
Let's go with a romantic idea. It was talked about before it was found, is that this was the first hunt and the treasure would be found, and he's already got another hunt in the Appalachian Mountains. So why is the chest in his possession right now? He's just setting it up. He gave a guy a check. The guy's got his money. We got the chest. It's now hidden someplace. Let's go with sort of a little more positive idea, because
like
conspiracy theories are, we are all puzzle solvers. I'm gonna bring this back to me just a little bit. We're puzzle solvers. We look for connections. We look to find the number of words in a poem and connect it to the number of words in a certain chapter in a book, and how they line up with the number of sentences. This is how conspiracy theories is sort of the dark side of us looking for connections.
Yes.
Let's make it, maybe it'll be a positive answer. Masquerade didn't come out right away on what the answer was. And somebody was, I think Amy said, people are still looking for the treasure right now. People are still looking for that rabbit, even though it's already been shown where it is right now.
Yes.
Going back to the lawsuits, I would have put money that there would have been lawsuits after somebody said the treasure hunt was found. Sassy had $100,000 treasure hunt for the David Blaine treasure hunt, and she got sued, and that was $100,000. And now we're dealing with a treasure chest that's $1 million plus. It didn't surprise me at all. So let's maybe think of it. There's got to be some positive reasons is all I want to throw in there.
I feel like one of the reasons I can understand why the solution hasn't been released yet is the finder is working with Fenn to keep the chase going, and maybe next year or something, the world chills the hell out, is going to be announced. Hey, it's still the same solve, it's still the same 9 clues, but this time you can go back and find like something that I left behind, and that's why we don't have the solution.
I'll take just a coin. Anything. That's like the second place prize conspiracy theory, which I adore. I want that one. The end of anything is heartbreaking. I hate the end of stuff like this. But this part of what I'm excited about is that, like, here we are all chatting about something, and like AJ, you weren't actually even into the thing, but I love that you're on here because you have a puzzle hunter perspective. You've found the have you found the stone? What else have you found? Something else as well?
I found a small one that Beth H hid for a while, but the Forrest fenn was my gateway drug into these treasure hunts. I don't want to say that I spent zero time. I spent maybe 2 hours working on it of something, and I've spent I don't know how many hours watching videos and live streams just because it's fun when I'm out inspecting bridges and I can go turn on, oh, let's see who's on tonight. I can sit back and just sort of, well, this is what we worked on. I did work on it for like maybe 2 hours lifetime, but it was my gateway drug to the other things.
All right, we all hate you for that. Like 2 hours.
That was good. It's like that cocaine tastes good, but I better not touch that. Okay, and then run away. Yeah.
He's using his kidneys.
Yeah, smart man.
I know. I I have, if anyone watches my really sad video, and I don't recommend it on all my work. Everyone was
great,
surprised.
Amy. That's a great video.
It was a good healing process. Yeah.
Everyone was so surprised because I would go to these meetups and I was a little bit like, Susie Fenhaven. I wasn't saying a lot because I thought, oh, I'm gonna solve it. And so obviously now that it's solved, I'm like, well, hi everybody. I was just as into it as everyone else. Just
Ta-da!
It's like, oh, I didn't know you were that into it. I got a lot of different reactions, which was hilarious. And I remember hearing yours, Justin. You're like, oh, I've been out this many times. And I'm like, wow. But I was jealous because you were boots on the ground. Anyone who was boots on the ground, I'm just like, oh man, I miss that. I only went out once to West Yellowstone, and that was just to check out the area. I went up Watkins Creek. And I went up 200 feet off the trail this way and 200 feet off the trail this way with a metal detector.
Wow.
Huh?
Isn't Watkins over in Hebgen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, wait, you're messing with my map in my head right now.
Yeah, it's like so you have like the Madison Arm. So I still, for me, there's certain things that everyone gets to a point where they're not going to believe something, right? For me, if Madison Arm isn't the starting point, then I'm going to be like, oh well, he's wrong. That's going to be my point. Everyone has their point, right? What's that, Chasing?
Oh, I was saying, like, I know what you're talking about. I had that as a warm-ups halt, because halt can also mean to break off. So,
There we go.
I actually had Watkins. I was talking to Marty about it. There's an anagram, because you know me and my weirdo anagrams, for the second book, Too Far to Walk. It anagrams to say look for a Watt, W-A-T-T. And I found out Watt actually abbreviated as Watt. So I was like, Marty, look for Watkins Creek. And she was like, I was living on Watkins Creek. She like searched there for hours.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, so I mean that whole area, it's amazing how fast you adjust what you think might happen when you think a dead body has to be on this chest. Because just as a wilderness person, I've been a wilderness person for a while. I like just going out off trail in the middle of nowhere and just camping for a while. And you learn very quickly how to locate certain things. And it's very easy to find something that's dead because initially you have a bunch of buzzards circling your head. You know, I mean, that happens, anything that's dead that's large. And so for me, it was really hard to imagine any of these places where a dead body was going to be because you can easily pinpoint it. Just being a naturalist, you can easily pinpoint these places. So, you know, if the solve comes out and it's somewhere that's not too remote, I don't know. I'm going to be like, how was he planning on interring his body? But maybe he was going to like bury most of himself. I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah, how do you reconcile that with the comment he made about the 200-foot searchers that they sent photos? Like, so
Yeah.
and so how do you it has to be within a recognizable place, within 200 feet of a recognizable place that you would stop and take a photo and show it to Forrest Fenn. I mean, it has to have all three of those you know, qualities.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Does anyone have any opinions on that? Silence.
Well, I mean,
It
when
has to be
I
a
always,
recognizable spot. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, based on the emails that were sent to him, I think he mentioned that I don't recall, and I'm maybe totally off base here, that he necessarily said photos, but I do know
He
that.
said photos
Okay.
in
all
an
right.
interview. Photo.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, the photos would certainly help. I was under the impression that it was merely just descriptions and emails of exactly where folks had been, and based on those descriptions, he could discern some sort of
He
distance.
said he saw and recognized the place. He saw in the photos where they were and recognized where they were and that they were 200 feet. So it has to be a place where you would stop and commonly take a photo and actually send it to Forrest and go, look, this is what you made me do. You know, now I'm at the Vietnam Memorial. Now I'm at Cody, Wyoming, or, you know, whatever.
Didn't he say that there, like when he was talking about the 200 versus 500 footer, he mentioned searchers versus people. Like he said, people have been within 500 feet, and then he says searchers have been within 200. And so a lot of us always said, okay, that's got to be like something that is super touristy. That's going to be somewhere where you have to go to take a picture, because if you don't, it's like you never went on vacation. So about that.
So let's say it wasn't in Yellowstone. Like, so obviously Yellowstone is like a big, I don't know. I mean, we know there's tons of stories about it. We know that he loved it. We know In Love with Yellowstone is a chapter, right? It's clear that Yellowstone was, in his heart of hearts, a place that he adored. That's not in question. So, obviously then we're left with wondering what the other options are for not coming forth with the solve if it wasn't in Yellowstone. So Yellowstone poses tons of problems legally as far as what he could have possibly, like why the finder might be waiting. Things that have to be processed. And honestly, I wish, is there a lawyer in the room? Could somebody forward the Zoom to to a lawyer? That would be fantastic.
Well, didn't Ben say he like forked over a good chunk of to make sure? And he was saying like he had his lawyer look over like Indian reservation land, which was the most expensive, and then national parks. I remember reading in an article once where he said he wanted to know what would happen if someone stubbed their toe on the chest in a national park. And I was like,
in an article.
Park.
I know. Well, I mean, obviously it's a sticky wicket if it's in a national park, which would make sense for why the finder's not coming forward yet. Maybe certain things are still in process, because we also know that yes, there's money to be made if the finder comes forward. There's money to be made, period. There's no question. There's money to be made on the solve, on a book, on the tour, all of that kind of stuff. There's money to be made to potentially even double the amount that the chest is worth. So, I mean, that's not in question. So there has to be good reason why the finder either is never coming forward or is not coming forward yet. And that's why I just keep leaning towards the potential either private property thing, especially with what Forrest said about if you rent the property, that killed me. That killed me. If you rent the property, don't you own it? And we're like, no, you don't own it. That made us all just like, dang it, what is he saying? And the chapter S35s, or what was it?
Oh yeah.
S corp, C corps. Yeah.
What were those? What was that all about? I mean, that's why I think the picture had to be in the legal office, that there was some sort of corporation thing set up. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, one of the ways that you can obscure the ownership of land is through different types of legal entities, right? So like in Montana, for instance, the best way to hide land from, divulging the true owner would be that you create a trust, and then that trust creates an LLC or some sort of corporation, S corp, C corp, and then that corporation purchases the land. So you have kind of two layers of abstraction there, and that makes it more challenging to track down who the true owner is. And Wyoming is a little bit different, but somewhat similar. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's entirely possible that corporate structures could come into the mix.
Wow.
I mean, why else would he mention something like that? It was such an abstract thing to say out of the middle of nowhere.
Good point.
Yes, indeed.
I want to know right now.
A question which I've always struggled with: what does this bias mean? That everybody was talking about when you have your own bias. What is that term again?
Oh, confirmation bias. Yes, yeah. It's kind of like an epiphany.
Yeah, it's just where you're looking for information that supports some sort of preconceived belief that you have or preconceived notion.
Okay.
And it's often goes along with the concept of belief perseverance, where which is kind of the contrary to that, where if you find information that doesn't align with your preconceived notions, you dismiss it. So those two combined are quite powerful and generally actually cause a negative effect, especially in the chase.
It causes your own little personal rabbit hole.
I went down the
So that means you would have to find something that's beyond your own confirmation bias to make sure you're not delusional. Is that what you're saying?
No, you
That's
have
not
the
what I'm saying.
tendency,
No.
based on your own experiences, the way you life, the things you've learned, how you've learned them, you can find something and make a connection that only you would make, and then you would go down that rabbit hole. That's what I understood that to mean.
Yeah.
So in America, we're all going to have shared experiences: baseball, media, etc. Right? Television. So if Forrest used media as a conduit through all of this, wouldn't that, is that comfort? We're all sharing the same bias.
No.
It's all a matter of time and perspective. Like the media that in whatever you're absorbing is based on how long you've been on this earth, like what what the time frame is. So when somebody much younger is searching their time frame and their perspective is so much less than, or has a different view than what yours would be at your age.
Well, so let's say I'm into knitting, right? I'm going to see patterns in speech that mimic knitting, and I'm going to say this pattern of the speech is actually knitting a word, right? So it has to do with what we know really well, what is personal to us. If music is personal to you, if movies are personal to you, if it depends on what is personal to you, that's where you're going to start trying to apply the patterns that you're seeing. So you're going to see the same aberrations as everybody else, but you're going to try and apply it to the things you know best. So so for me, I was really into the word counting, which I don't know why, because I'm slightly dyslexic. So that was a bad choice. but
Painful choice.
in general, I love camping and stuff, right? So maybe I would see something in the way of thinking that it was a mark on a tree, right? Because I camp and I make marks on trees or something like. So it's your personal experiences overlapping with aberrations that you're actually seeing. And then it creates an epiphany effect where you have a false epiphany because your brain needs to fill in a blank. And it desperately needs to fill in a blank. I mean, desperately. And your brain is really good at doing that. Your brain can fill in blanks like you would not believe. It is very impressive. And that's why you have things. That's why you have rabbit holes. You make your own rabbit holes sometimes.
So that's where these two things are I've been struggling with. How do you know you're even close to anything?
Well, that's where the one for the fenn hunt was so tricky for confirmation. Now, obviously, a lot of people thought they had confirmation. I thought there were some subtle confirmations in the stuff that I was doing. But I met 100 searchers who thought there was confirmation in what they were doing. So, and they were all different. They were all different, all of them.
It sounds like it's the same idea as belief.
A little bit.
One
you just
believes
don't realize your brain's doing it.
So it's under the same idea of belief, which I'm struggle with all the time. I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. I don't have any of that. So I don't believe that the sun, I know the sun's going to come up tomorrow, but it's not a belief. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a thing apparently it's a thing that ADHD or dyslexic people have an issue with too, I guess, is that the whole construct of belief. So
well,
there's Captain Marvel said it best.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, Captain Marvel in the chat said people died because they were so sure that their solves were correct, even though Forrest Fenn said that it was not in a dangerous place. They were biased.
Yes. They had gold fever and they knew they were right despite what Forrest said. And what happens is they interpret what he says in a way that fits what they believe. So, and that's easy to do in treasure hunts because people are giving abstract clues. People are giving a lot of abstract information. So I mean, there's an endless number of rabbit holes, and that's why you have to always limit yourself to how far you take a rabbit hole. You can only take it so far before you have to bring yourself back and be like, okay, I'm starting. It's like, okay, I have to bring myself back. We don't have any confirmation. We just have what I think is a link, and another link, and another link, and another link, and another link.
Well, I think I went down like the deepest rabbit hole I've ever been down when I found an old article that spoke of, it basically was Forrest Fenn's father, Marvin, saying he wanted to die in Yellowstone because he was absolutely in love with it. And then that just like goes perfectly with Flywater chapter, and where he talks about how he's in love with the fire hole. And he says, when my tackle box is closed and the caddis hatch is gone, I will lay down all the time and space, like pillow down and sent it in from that final place. I'm like, final place? What the hell? Like, that's as final as it gets.
That is pretty final, and that was Yellowstone.
It
All right,
was a fire hole.
I'm trying to read the chat, so I have to apologize if I'm not catching up with all of the chat. Remember to highlight my name.
Kate,
I'm doing my
Kate
best.
Pro says, Amy, can we go back now with the state and the timing of Forrest Fenn original 200-footer comment to help?
I tried figuring that stupid thing out for freaking days.
Anybody?
It does seem like we should be able to take that bit of information and rule out a lot of places that don't have something that a lot of people are going to go by. This is not a really remote area. This is a well-traveled area, but the place where the chest was sitting was not necessarily where you were supposed to go. That was beyond the bounds of whatever this was, be it, you know, a bronze statue of Sacagawea or whatever the landmark could be. Exactly. I don't know. But I think the 200-foot comment, like that really is interesting when you apply it to Yellowstone Park, because of all the iconic places you would stop along your way in Yellowstone Park and go, here, I'm at the fishing bridge, you know, and take that photo, you know.
Seriously, what would you guys do if it ended up being like a Firehole River solve?
I would fall over and laugh and cry for like weeks on end. That was literally my life solve.
If it comes out and it turns out it has something to do with the Firehole River, I don't know. I mean,
I will die. I will be like, why didn't I listen to my damn self? And like every time I said Firehole, everyone's like, oh, I've been there. I've searched there. It's like, you didn't find a secret message in a book title that stared you in the face for 10 years. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be well-traveled. I think this place is going to be a well-traveled place, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, why did he have, you know, that camera in the second book with a picture of the fire hole, a specific spot that he put on like Venmo or something? And it's just like, why would you need to have a freaking camera there? It's weird.
To drive us all crazy, you know. Drink.
What were you going to say, Justin?
Oh, I was just going to mention that I think that the area is generally well traveled, but I suspect there's some sort of geographic item that causes people to not be able to get to where they need to be. Like, for instance, you need to ford a river or a creek. And maybe that's the reason why he said kids have a leg up, is because when you go down to the creek, you know, the first thing, kids are in the creek, they're having a good time. It's not any sort of barrier to entry to them. But all the adults are like, oh, you know, I don't want to get wet. And it's just like this odd thing that people get as they grow older. And I just wonder, you know, I mean, it's actually very simple to get pretty remote pretty quickly, especially in Yellowstone, because most people don't leave the parking lot, right? It's very simple to do.
Yellowstone is very popular, but it is a very large. It doesn't take you have to go very far. Huge. It doesn't take very far before you get off a trail, and then no one's been there in years, probably.
Yeah, and you're in the willow thickets. I mean, yeah, I don't know how many times I've gone off trail in Yellowstone, and not treasure hunting, just because I like Yellowstone. And you very quickly, depending on the vegetation, are out of sight of things, and it also dampens the sound. I mean, it really does feel like you've been, you know, bushwhacking it for a week, and you're not that far out. But I like that. I like the geographic. I like the, you know, the geomorphology potential of a river, or, you know, something like that, being a little inhibitor to the 99.9% visitor to Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We solved it.
And that's actually the main reason I spent so much time crossing rivers. You know, like every day, you know, I don't bother wearing like waders or anything. It's like, I'm going to get wet. it happens every day. It's fine. My
Yeah.
shoes get wet. I just keep on going. It's not a big deal, you know. But for a lot of folks, it's a big barrier of entry. And I think that that alone could have been, you know, if that geographic anomaly wasn't there or whatever it is, then maybe it would have been found a lot quicker than it did.
That's interesting. That has me curious because I mean, if it was something like the fire hole, if it was something just bluntly obvious, it would have to have some sort of feature like that, like you say, to just kind of prevent people from going that little extra step to explore. And the people
That's
who did
true.
explore, you know, obviously it had, I'm sorry, it had to have been concealed in some way. I know it's not buried. I get that. I get it. It was, you know, he's made it so clear it was on the ground where I left it. And technically you can conceal it and it's still on the ground where you left it. You can bury it and it's on the ground where you left it. But it had to have been concealed. You just in an area where there's bears and moose and stuff like that, something can trip on it and just totally knock the contents out. And spill them, you know, all over the ground. So it had to have been concealed. And I just, oh gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna go through if, like, for me, I just wish we knew that there was potential that the solve would come out. Like the solve will come out in 5 years. I'd be like, all right, cool. I need to make sure I live another 5 years. That's all I need to know. Just give me a time frame to work with. You know, it's like the solve will come out in 10 years. You know, when the statute of limitations, something like something, right? I'd be like, okay, cheers. We'll make videos until then, and and we're good to go. But not knowing, that's the, you know, that's the part that's making us all go
I'll
conspiracy
sit
theory.
here tonight, right now. That's why, and 100 people joining us are all the same, you know.
Hello, everybody. Hello, 100 people. 100 people.
Hello, 100 people.
What
Yes.
is wrong with you? You have got to have something better to do tonight. Come on. That's right, AJ.
We have 100
Love
people
you
here with
all.
no closure, all sitting here on edge, just waiting.
Thinking,
Yep.
thinking.
And apparently we have all the answers too.
Oh, yeah. I totally know it's a fire hole. There was this big rock in the way.
It's on the other
It's
side of
funny
this
though, like
big rock.
I can't count how many times I've been out, you know, searching and folks who come along with me. And, you know, I get to a creek or something and I say, okay, we'll just go ahead and cross here. And, you know, they look at me like I'm nuts, like get wet. Like what? And I tell them beforehand, you know, we'll probably get a little wet. Is that okay? And everybody'd say, oh yeah, that's fine. But when you actually get down to it, they act like it's this crazy thing, you know, and after they do it a few times, it's fine, of course, but it's that initial barrier to entry for so many people that I think is just,
I
Well,
did not know that. That is
yeah.
very interesting. I mean, I'm the first one to kind of just, blah.
Yeah, me too. That's
that's
I
funny.
don't even think about that as a barrier. All right, okay, I'm going to read the chat here. We have from Jack, Amy Seeks. He said, nobody's going to stumble on it. That's right. It had to be concealed. I agree. The Forrest fenn aftermath, I've been saying that too at Amy Seeks. Had to be concealed in some way. How did the sun not touch the chest? If not concealed in some way, can't be tree cover if he can see the spot on Google Earth. And Tina Pantoli says, Amy Seeks, maybe the toe-to-toe searcher will release it first, but nobody will know. Well, I was the toe-to-toe searcher, so you know. And then Jack says, here's the funny thing. Anybody can go solve it still. Right now, the finder did not have any special information. I know I've said this before, but there were two people who, I don't know why, after watching my solve video, wanted to pay me to finish it. And I'm just like, but I don't know if I can. I'm like, I might have been able to in a month or two. And one of them offered like a decent pay. And I keep saying how torn I was because I'm like, if I accept that offer, right, for my work, I still am not guaranteed to solve it. And I'm also not moving on. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I get all my work out again. I try and finish what I was doing. And let's say I still never solve it. And I feel terrible that I would never take somebody's money for that. Right? I would refund all the money. I'd be like, I can't do it. But at the same time, even if I did solve it, even if it was convincing, without any confirmation from Forrest, there's no actual solution. Without any confirmation from Forrest, nobody can know for sure, or from the finder itself. So, until then, I don't know. I just don't know what I would do if Forrest came forth and said the solve is never coming out.
I'm pretty sure. I think I'm safe to say I think the solution was hidden in the chapter, The Long Ride Home. I think he did it in I don't know. I think it had a piece of his brother. I think he did the two can keep a secret if one of them is dead. I think it was his brother.
I mean, the main suspects are Skippy, his father, and
Eric Sloan.
And Eric Sloan. I mean, I always just saw it as a saying. I'm like, well, it's just a saying. But when you research it, it does seem like, I mean, him and Eric Sloan had the most wonderful relationship. Very impressive, for two men to be that close and share so much without having to be bros, But Eric Sloan was not a Yellowstone guy. You know what I mean?
No, where's our Eric Sloan connection? I know. That's going to be really interesting to me. If there, or what is the Eric Sloan connection, or,
Street scene 333. Okay, what? Tina Pantoli, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. Tina Pantoli. Amy Six, wouldn't you like to hear Forrest narrate the progression of the chase based on the information he received? Oh my God, yes. That to me is the most fascinating aspect of the whole thing. I know, and if Forrest passes before the solve comes out, or if the guy comes forward, all of that is just lost. Just thinking about it is heartbreaking.
I don't think about it anymore. I try not to. I think it's a coin flip at this point whether or not everything is divulged. Just do my own thing. I don't want to think about it.
You're a fart smeller there. You're a fart smeller. I didn't even think about the loss of information as far as what Forrest, all those emails and the 2018 email and okay, I'm gonna have a drink. Cheers, everybody.
I even K-Pro has a question for Justin, but I'll let you know. First of all, you asked about Forrest Fenn's email. K-Pro confirmed to me that there is some type of archiving or something, because that email inbox has got to be gold. It's got to be gold for a book or something.
Platinum, baby. Platinum.
But K-Pro had a question for Justin. She's wanted to know if you still go out and search any location for any reason, or are you done?
I mean, it just so happens that a lot of the places that I like to frequent and fish, and actually some of them that I've found by way of the chase, I go to those places still, but not to hunt, but to fish. So, it's on my mind while I'm there, but I'm not actively hunting anymore. I don't think there's anything to find. So.
All right. Do you guys think the finder is watching right now?
Probably.
Ooh, interesting. I would be if I were the finder.
No, I'd be
I mean, seriously, I would want to know what the pulse of the community was.
He's one of us. He's got to be one of us. He's spent the time, He's
one of us. One of us.
I'm not sure. I tend to think
he had to research like we did. We're all connected with this invisible thread of what was put behind this. He didn't just do this in a day or a week or whatever. There had to have been years of research. So that makes all of us, one of us. Or
I honestly thought it was going to be Smell of Sunshine. I thought he was going to be the finder.
Those videos were beautifully done. Those were,
He was,
it was
yeah.
PBS. I'm like, I'm watching PBS, except it's Forrest Fenn.
Well, what's crazy is I think it was June 2nd or June 3rd. He emailed me and was like, "Hey, are you in Yellowstone? I'm in Yellowstone searching." And I was just like, "Oh my God." And then all of a sudden, it's like announced a few days later, it's found. And then you see Cynthia and him chilling on camera. And like, Cynthia's not crying like me. And I'm like, well, wait, what's going on here? Like, you guys strike a deal then?
Conspiracy theories abounding.
And why are they doing the fishing bridge thing? Like, they're both posting it. What if we show up there and the chest is just like right there and be like, "Ha, just kidding, it was us." Like, that would be.
Oh, how I wish those things were true.
That's a cruel joke too.
So many people could have done some cruel jokes, because those were the, we have the real bronze, the replica bronze chests that were made. And I was surprised those were not put into play after it was found by somebody who was just a little mischievous.
They did that, like, what was it, last year or something? Someone had one of the replicas and they put it out there and it said it was found. And I was scrolling through Facebook and I almost had a heart attack. And I saw it was fake. And I went in, I'm like, "You are a very mean person."
Bad person. I don't know. I can understand the temptation. I get it. I wouldn't do it, but I get it.
Good gag. It's a funny gag. But
It's a funny gag. I have a little chest. Oh, here. I was very lucky at the World Series of Fenn. Where is it? Oh, see? If I just make it look really big.
Is that
that's
I found it. The chase is over. Oh, see, nothing in it. Nothing.
Wah, wah.
I only played a joke one time, and I was searching on April Fool's Day, and with a buddy of mine, and for whatever reason, he didn't realize it was April Fool's, and so we'd always said, "Oh, if we find this thing, we'll put it in this backpack." And so anyhow, I filled it with a bunch of rocks and came back and said, I guess we're gonna have to find a new hobby now. And I handed him the backpack, and he grabs a hold of it. Weighed about 40 pounds.
That's
felt bad
awesome. That's
afterwards.
awesome.
I just couldn't help myself.
That's great.
That is so mean.
very funny 3 seconds.
Very funny.
Okay, Jack says, Amy Seeks, what if the finder is one of us, and is just playing along the whole time? He could be in your panel guests right now. Let's see. I'm thinking
just
AJ.
trying really hard to smile?
AJ's like, yes, I only spent 2 hours. I've had several people already assume that I found it. I don't know why after the video I made. I've had several people think that in the chats, because I was in the chats beforehand, just under some different names, not trying to be underhanded or anything, just, it was just my handle or whatever at the time. But they would think I was Forrest Fenn. And so I'd have to change my handle. Because I'm like, oh, I'm so not. I'm like, oh, I don't want you following me and thinking I'm giving you information and misleading you. So then I changed my handle again to a new name. And I think there were several people who had that happen to them where they thought, oh, I know you're Forrest Fenn. And you're like, oh, no, I'm so sorry. And, you want to be Forrest Fenn for them. Because, it's like, oh, I wish I was. I wish I could help you. But I think we were all searching for guidance so badly. We wanted just any kind of guidance that was going to help us either have an advantage or, something to help us find this thing. So I'm curious as to the finder, the story of the finder, how much, for me, the scrapbooks were very helpful. Everything the Forrest Fenn said helped me learn who Forrest Fenn was in his writing style, right? So when he would write kind of differently, it was very clear. It was like, okay, that's a goofy story. So did the finder go through all that as well? Did the finder? I can't imagine not using things that Forrest Fenn has said to help with that. And if you are doing that, then you are aware of the blogs, you know, you are aware of the stuff that's going on in Dale's site and stuff like that, right?
Well, I think toe to toe was the biggest ways to scrapbook that you could ever do.
Toe to
Like that.
toe. Who was it? Who were the two? Ah! Oh, the not knowing is killing us.
I think one was that Smell the Sunshine, and the other one, I have an idea, but it got me into a shit ton of trouble. Where Fenn didn't even send me an email that night letting me know it was found because I was in that much trouble. So everyone else knew that it was found except for me.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Was it that Trump lawyer guy? That lawyer from New York or whatever?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, wait, hold on. CJC 86. I am from Florida. Would you like to discuss whether or not I found it over dinner? CJC. Okay. No, we're not going there. Okay, hold on.
Thanks for effort.
Sorry.
It's
And
impressive.
Bill, I'm sorry. So like I trust Hooli, I trust the moderators and everything, and I'm sorry that you're getting censored and all that stuff. But if you want to, Bill Gorman, comment later on, and as long as you don't, you know, trash anybody else, you can trash me all you like, but as long as you don't trash anybody else and you don't use like curse words so that if kids see it, they don't be like, ah, then you can trash me all you like in the comments later. You can totally vent. But right now the moderators, you know, I do trust them. So yeah, be kind moderators. I trust you that if you're censoring him, it's only because he's trashing other people or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, trash me later. Give me a thumbs down right now. Thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down. Either one, we're good with. I think it's a great way to express yourself. And yeah, I'm totally okay with comments being negative as long as it's only negative towards me. I will remove them if they're negative towards somebody else. That's my only thing. Or if they're, you know, saying dirty words. so no dirty words because kids might look at the comment section. So that's my only thing, Bill. So
Wait,
I
your
apologize for that.
kid approved?
Huh?
Your video's kid approved?
It's not kid approved, but you never know if a kid's going to look at it, you know, and so I don't want curse words or, you know, C words.
Sorry.
Huh?
Sorry. I'm so used to like going to all this shit where they just like drop F-bombs.
No,
Like,
but the comments are there permanently, you know, like they're easy to see. So those are the ones that I make sure are not trashing anybody else. But yeah, I don't care if people trash me. That's totally cool. You do not have to like me. Do not, for sure, do not have to like me.
Hard
that
not
is-
to. Come on.
Everybody likes Amy.
Oh, trust me. I'm sure people can find great reasons not to, and that is perfectly fine. And I won't censor that as long as you're not cursing and all that kind of stuff. I think it's important for people to be able to feel like they've vented in a time that is high emotions like this, but not with other people. You know, just with me, I can take it. So yeah, so I'm cool with that. All right, so yeah, so I apologize if it feels unfair, Bill. Go ahead and comment later, but just only trash me, not anybody else. That's all I ask. And yeah, you can claim that you solved it as long as you don't do it exuberantly. You know, like I'm the one, damn it. Don't do that. Well, because there's a lot of people who believe they're the one, and you know, we won't know. We won't know until the solve is.
If there's anything at the spot,
What's that?
did the finder leave a little bow tying around the tree it was next to or the post? Is there a little trinket? Is there a thing that says, haha, you're second? Is there?
There was a post, and I can't remember whose video it was in. I think it might have been K-Pro or Cows. And it was someone who said, now this could not be more third-hand information, but it was somebody who said that they emailed Forrest and said, is there anything left at the spot? And Forrest said something like, sorry, Jim, no, F.
Ah.
But I don't know if it was Jim. I forget what the name is, but it was a sorry, blank, F.
So for sure, nothing.
Well, not for sure. I mean, that's third hand, you know, that's somebody who posted in chat, but I mean, it certainly sounds like Forrest.
I would have
It's not that it's hard to mimic him, but
carve my name in the tree or something, you know.
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so I think, I don't know, I mean, in conclusion, right, there's tons of money to be made if he comes forward. So if he's
Yeah,
not coming forward, there has to be a good reason.
yeah.
And is that reason something that will always prevent him from coming forward, or just prevent him for now? Because we love you, Finder.
I don't
Uh,
know. I mean, the way that the community, or a lot of the community and naysayers have treated Forrest since all of this played out is, man, if I was the finder, I'd be a little reticent to come out because, golly, Forrest has caught a lot of flack, and that's actually been the most disappointing aspect to the chase. Is that all along he said, "Look, this is going to be in the finder's court when all this is over," and that's
Yeah.
just what happened. Is what he said,
That
and
is what
despite
happened.
that, people got upset. I mean, even people who were hardcore Fenn supporters and really into the chase have completely disparaged him. And I just, I can't relate to that. It's really unfortunate.
I
that
know.
it's Finn.
It's that high emotion thing. It's that high emotion thing. And I mean, obviously, Justin, you should be a spokesperson for someone who gave it their all and
No, it's
and
like
are
I give
not.
myself the biggest loser title.
Well, but no, but I mean, you gave it. So like I feel like I gave it my all that I could. As far as the armchair portion, every spare moment I had, I worked on it, all this other kind of stuff. And I'm not bitter, I'm not angry, I'm sad, I'm heartbroken, but I'm not bitter or angry because I chose to do this. I'm a human being and I chose to do this, and I knew it was a risk, and that's what armchair treasure hunts are. And so you are like the poster boy for doing the boots on the ground version of that. You gave it your all. You gave it everything that you had to try and find this thing, and you are not angry, and you are not bitter, and you are not suing. You are not trying to fix it, right, for the injustice. And I think that's important for people to see. It's important for people to see someone and know that somebody put in this huge amount of effort and is okay that it didn't work out for them.
If you say so. That's no, it's true. I mean, I did spend a lot of time searching, but at the end of the day, I don't consider that a waste. I feel enriched for it. I think along with everybody here and everybody in the channel, I suspect that most people have quite a bit more knowledge about geography of the Rocky Mountains, history, a lot more context and appreciation as a result. And I think that that speaks volumes right there, and that is a good outcome.
So what do you have to say then for the people who leverage too much and are feeling angry and bitter? Like, what is your PSA to them?
by leveraging too much, do you mean that they went beyond their means in terms of like spending money on the chase, or?
In all different respects. Some people it's time, some people it's money, some people it's both. But I think for them, it's hard to resolve the end. And I think it's important to speak to those people that, it's like, yeah, this is my PSA to you. It's like, yes, it sucks. We are all,
Well,
it's awful, but
it-
we're still in it together.
we are in it together, right? At the end of the day, like just in terms of pure math, like the odds of any one person finding this thing were astronomically low. I mean, the fact that it was even found by someone in our lifetime is incredible. I think that's something to be said in and of itself. But it's a numbers game, and for
Yeah.
anyone that had unrealistic expectations, if you just have some introspection, be honest with yourself about the whole thing, I think that maybe you'd come to a resolution a little bit quicker. But it's different for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely harder, especially if you made plans. I was like Susie Fenhaven. I was making plans. I'm like, well, shoot, if I do find it, I need to have a plan. And I think most of us did that.
I
Because
think it was an outstanding diversion from my incredibly horrible life. So to have a great distraction, that takes me completely. I mean, my life has been rock climbing, working with bands, very physically involved in the life, and to sit back and read was extraordinarily abstract, and then to do research and what the hell is this world of all these words, and why are and so I had to fight through all my own issues just to glean. It was so radically different. I really enjoyed that, especially since I was not able to be physical anymore. I've got, I'm old and fingers don't work. You can't go climbing, big wall climbing if your body isn't working right. So
It's a limited time sport. Yes, indeed. It's true. I used to climb a lot more often.
I've always come from a world of you're gonna die trying. If you're a high school dropout that's dyslexic, you really feel you have to try with no money. If you really have to try harder, there's always a chance of risk. You always think, well, I could die doing this, and that's a job. That's doing. I got paid in cocaine once. I did not see that coming. I'm a disc jockey, and here's a box of cocaine. Okay, well, I thought I was going to die.
A box? A box?
Yeah, a shoebox of cocaine, yeah. And a triple beam scale. And it says, here's your pay.
Cocaine.
How much is this? Yeah, I wish it was this much cocaine, whatever that is, it's a lot. So
it's enough to like kill a rhinoceros.
So I've always thought, this was a thing that was worth this late in life, I saw this as a thing worth dying for. So when I heard people were dying, trying to do this, I thought that was, kind of normal, but at the same time, they're really doing stupid shit. So I was really, interested in the gold bug factor that was going on. I just found this
right?
So many ways,
Yeah.
It was just bizarre. This little thing.
So what do we do now then? So let's say, obviously we don't know for sure if it was found in Yellowstone, and we won't know for sure till we don't know when. But what do we do in the meantime?
Well, I see this as a big art project. So I thought more art. Susie's been doing some really great art. Me and her are trying to mail. It's a funny dyslexic joke. Two dyslexic people trying to mail something to each other. It just keeps coming back. It just keeps coming back. It just keeps coming back to my house. It's like I've mailed something to somebody, but it just keeps coming back. See, look.
Oh, it's got that. I'm so sorry.
Oh you delete this whole video?
God, that is so great. That's the best.
Delete
the video.
It's gonna make me delete the whole video.
It's just all art. This is all part of the art, just like that.
I wanted to show you how I added to the envelope.
I love it. See, people see that. Every time the envelope comes back, you put more stuff on it.
I did. I added to it, like turned it into more art. Oh no.
We start doing second place checks to each other. So you draw a check like a postcard, and let's see how much postage gets added onto it before it actually gets to the address.
I relate. I relate to that.
Funny. I thought it was totally cute. I think
it's getting darker where Justin is. Are we going to see a grizzly bear come up behind him here?
Yeah, normally black bears.
Oh my God.
Not this
Black
evening.
bears. Black bears.
Yeah, it's probably my cue to exit stage left. It's getting pretty dark
It's starting
here.
to get
So.
a little antsy. I thought I'd give you an out.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you for having me on the show. Nice to talk with you all.
Yeah, thanks for
Have a
your
good
input.
evening.
It's very
Sure.
important.
Well,
Yeah, it
thanks
was
again.
nice seeing you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Question for you. So, do you ever sleep in a bivy bag out in the wild?
Yeah.
Bivy
Yes.
bag, yeah.
Yeah. Or hammocks from time to time, or just a bivy sack on the ground. Yeah.
Any nudging?
Any nudging? I like that. No, actually, never.
You haven't been in Yosemite much then.
Just a couple times.
The bears in Yosemite, man. Every time I go out in the wild, out of the valley, you always get bears pushing on you, sniffing like a big
Trying to
dog. We
spoon you.
Oh, that'll wake
nudging.
you up.
Bears I can deal with.
You
It's a
see is the
grizzly.
ear tag. Is all you see is the number 74 has been nudging you. You know, and off they go.
Oh my gosh, that is unnerving. In all my years searching, I've only had 2 grizzly bear encounters, and few and far
Right.
between. So
Different than a
just scaredy cat black bears. So it's all good.
I know. I love black bears because you can just be like, boo. And they're like, "Ah!"
That's about right. Yeah.
Grizzly bears, though, they're just like, what's up?
Yeah, it's a different ball
like-
game.
What do you taste like?
grizzly bear just okay. It's your world. I'm leaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Nice. I'm just gonna exit stage left.
Yeah, speaking of which, you guys have a good evening. I'll
All
catch
right,
you later.
Justin.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Thank
joining.
you.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Let's just go to his house. I
That
just
was
want
nice, huh? I love it.
to
Log cabin out in the wilderness. That's a
with
good-
reception.
With internet
right.
access, yes. Sounds like a perfect place.
Wait,
Ideal, man. Ideal scene.
wait a second. I didn't even realize that. How did he have internet?
Got
Justin,
money.
how did you have internet? He wasn't in the middle of nowhere. He was in West Yellowstone downtown area.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
We know better. Come on.
Well, I think the future is some kind of art projects. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not quite sure what it is, but this really has felt like an avant-garde art theater we've been living.
This
So-
is Forrest Fenn's art project. He's number one thing when he said in his lawsuit, or that lawsuit thing where he had to write a answer to it. He said, I'm an artist. The first thing he listed is as what he was. This is his art project. We all are a part of his living art project. That's for
Not
sure.
right. So not right. Dang it.
Pretty true, actually, you know?
I could see it. Well, in a sense, it is whether or not he planned it. You know,
Yeah.
whether or not.
Oh, he did. He's an art dealer. I mean, he's like,
Yeah.
gotta be loving it, loving it.
I
This
don't
is-
know. I don't know. I
But we
mean,
have the Electric Underground, right? I mean, this is like Warhol's, theater. We're living the,
well, I guess we're theater right now, right? This is
Yeah.
very
exactly. This is
Am I the tomato can in this Warhol experience?
I'm
Is that
Hello,
me?
Campbell soup.
the chicken soup, if anything.
Oh Lord, what am I? What am I? I don't know. Oh.
I'm that lob.
A quick question to the room. Do you have any other treasure hunting Yellowstone type questions or whatever?
Oh yeah.
But you got to highlight my name because, like I say, not only is it hard to keep up with chat, but I'm old and my eyesight is bad. So if you highlight it, then I'll know. And
You know
are-
what? I have. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amy.
No, it's all you.
Well, one thing about Yellowstone, which I was trying to go this afternoon. I actually was out in my garden and I listened to Davio while I was working in, and then after that I went back and I started listening to Forrest Fenn, the old interviews, just like I used to. I just wanted to find, it's like this
Oh.
comforting voice of Forrest Fenn, but I started listening with a new focus, because now knowing that it's Wyoming, is there anything he said in those Lorraine Mills interviews or those old interviews? I went and started listening to that to see if there was something, and he always talked about Yellowstone. He always threw in something Yellowstone. And but anyway, that prompted me to go through some of my old notes. And one of my things that I noted was about the Clovis people. There is an incredible rock quarry in Yellowstone that is, I want to say obsidian. I don't know how to say the actual type of stone, but it was used for tools. It was used for arrowheads. And they found it all the way, it came from Yellowstone. They can trace it all the way, to the East Coast. They found this stone that only comes from a quarry, a rock quarry in Yellowstone. So and that's why that's why those people settled there, because of that quarry. That was their
That
goal,
happens sometimes.
So
Yeah.
that's a different way to look at Yellowstone and the value. It's like Yellowstone is gold, haha. And then there's this stone rock quarry in Yellowstone that was more valuable than gold, because it was their implements. There were tools, their hunting, so I just
But
noted
you're
that.
going back. So you're going back to your notes. You're like, let's just see.
Let's figure this out. Let's just see, is there anything that I hit on that was Yellowstone, as I skipped across every state and skipped across all, I just thought, okay, where is my Wyoming stuff? So I just looked for my Wyoming references and Yellowstone references and ran across that quarry that's in there. And
well, how about it, AJ? Are you ready to join us in looking for a treasure that's no longer out there?
No.
Oh, come on.
I'm still the interested observer. Here it is. It's been found, and I'm here listening.
It could only take a few hundred hours from your week.
AJ, that's interesting. You as an observer have become part of the theater, like Jim, the photographer from Germany. It's fascinating. That cat is so emotionally invested into this, and he can't finish his video, and it's making him bloody nuts.
And now for any of you who are watching, if you want to challenge your gray matter, AJ Rainville has something called Priddle Mondays.
There you go.
And he calls it lateral thinking. And basically what we do is we go on there and he brings up these puzzles. And I honestly love the ones where it's harder for people to cheat. I like those a lot because you can't just look up the answer. But he does words on stream, and I have to say the words on stream one is super fun. I hate it, and it's really fun. I'm terrible at anagrams and Scrabble and that kind of stuff, and it challenges me immensely. And I think I might have even gotten better. And AJ doesn't know this, but I've actually been on for a while, just not under my name. Surprise! Shocker, right?
It's all good.
But now I go under my name. So you guys, if you guys want to join us on Priddle Mondays, it's so challenging because you're in with other people who are trying to solve these riddles as quick as possible. And what was the one that was really great recently? The one you gave us first off on the last video, and it was like you guys are like,
pineapple.
Pineapple. You're like, this could be a good one. Okay, do you remember how it goes? Can you give it to
yeah, something like I have a crown and I'm rough on the outside.
Oh, I have a crown, but I'm not royal.
I'm not royal. Yeah, okay. See, it was just yesterday, but I have a hard time remembering these things.
Yeah, it's something like I have a crown, but I'm not royal. I
come from flowers and not seeds.
Flowers, but not seed. Yes. See, this is what we look for, those aha moments. That you're looking for these treasures. I hope that Forrest Fenn finder got the greatest aha moment and is just high as a kite for like a week, because it's got to be the greatest feeling.
They had to have been.
They must have been. Yes. And so we get our little tiny aha moments on my show. That's what we go for.
Ultimate aha moment. Seriously, I was so hoping for the ultimate aha moment in the Fenn chase. All right, we have some from the room. John Brown, Amy Seeks, what if Wyoming is a diversion from the real state? I hope it's Wyoming, but what if we are all lemmings? That's always a possibility. I don't think so, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I can easily be a lemming. I'm heading for the cliff with all the rest. And then please take away K-Pro's wrench. Bill, come on, Bill. I'm going to beg you. Can't we all just get along? Okay. Wish me to be silent. No, Bill, there's certain rules. You got to be kind to people. Just got to be kind and no pompous-ing, roostering stuff. Those are our rules.
We're in Amy Seeks's house, and she can kick anybody out or let whoever in. This is not a free speech area. This is
I
what Toby
know.
says, and that's Toby's analogy, and I like it. This is
I
not
know,
a free speech area.
But
This is
it's
your
okay.
house. You can kick out and invite whoever wants.
But
to be
I
in.
want him to be okay to hate on me. It's okay to hate on me. Seriously,
Okay.
seriously.
It's your rules. It's your house. You can do what you want.
Exactly.
do what you
So
want.
just hate on me, just not on others. That's all it is. I can take it. Well, I'm sure I'll cry in my bed later on tonight, but that's fine. I'm kidding. I can take it. It's all good. Usually it takes a while for me to catch on that somebody's trying to hate on me, and then they get frustrated because I'm not like getting it. So if I don't get it, if you're trying to hate on me, don't be offended. It's just I don't catch it all the time.
If I'm not offended by you trying to offend me, don't be offended.
I know. I'm sorry. It's happened a lot. I'm really sorry, and I'm sorry that you're frustrated.
If you're trying to offend me, I'm kind of slow. I don't always get it. So
yeah, it happened a lot in high school and grade school. And,
Some people just need attention.
Well, there's a reason they're upset. It's not because their life is perfect, wonderful, and they're amazingly psychologically wonderfully happy. So if somebody's upset, just try and find some little bit of empathy in there somewhere. And at the same time, though, I understand that you have to defend yourself. There are some people that if you don't defend yourself, they will beat you down to nothing. So, I'm not saying just turn a cheek every single time. But if you can take it and not have to do the eye for the eye thing, then let it slide, move on. But yeah. And again, if you're mad at me and I'm not getting it, I'm sorry. it happens, and I apologize. I'm really sorry. And and somebody said something else too. I commented to you a little bit above. I don't know, Jack. Trying to see. Tina. Oh, wow. Sorry, I didn't see that. Tina Pantoli. Good night. That was like 20 minutes ago or something. My apologies. What time is it? 9:15. Oh, yeah. This has been a good chat. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's been
good stuff. We've determined it's either in Yellowstone or not in Yellowstone, and I think that's a good thing.
Perfect.
You're welcome. Where else you're welcome. This kind of intriguing information. Okay, let's take a quick. Everyone in the room, let's take a quick vote. Oh,
Everybody
sorry.
Saying hi, and K-Pro, just nice to say hi to everybody. It's kind of a check. Yay, everybody in the chat. It's nice to see Susie live. Yay, and everything. So yay, nice. Yay.
All right, let's take a vote. Everyone in the Zoom, everyone in the chat. If you think it's in Yellowstone, say Yellowstone. And if you think it's outside of Yellowstone, type in other.
Other.
Yellowstone.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm thinking I'm leaning. I'm going to go Yellowstone.
Okay, I'm going to go Yellowstone. It's girls against boys. It's girls against boys. Girls of Yellowstone. Now AJ, since you're not in the chat.
Oh, so my vote doesn't count. My vote doesn't count then.
No, it does. But do you have an opinion on why you think it's not in Yellowstone?
It's the legal reason.
Okay.
The difficulty in hiding something and then someone be able to find it and then being able to legally take it.
Okay, let's read the chat here. We have other, Yellowstone, other.
Kind of 50.
Other, yes, other. It looks like the others have it. The others have it.
I could turn into a other really easy. I could go back. I mean, just give me another day and I'll be. No, it was Kerwin. It's in Kerwin.
Metitzi.
Try the wheel.
Lander. Du Bois.
Another mother, other. Mother.
Yeah, that's a lot of others.
It's another.
Other. So the others have it. I'm in the
Bighorn
minority.
Battlefield.
But the only reason I think it's Yellowstone is because I'm really stuck on my Madison
Because
Arms getting point. So
Gold and more, yellow and stone.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It seems golden, seems pretty obvious now, but
In love with Yellowstone, like Amy said earlier in the show. I
In
mean,
love with
on
Yellowstone.
page 44, and then in the postmark, it's got 36 as the next, and the coordinate for Yellowstone is 44.36. I mean, could it be?
And I'm sorry, Dave Bradshaw. I am currently kind of shy with my email. That might change in the future. Somebody told me to make an email just for stuff like this, but I'm still a little shy with that. We'll have to see in the future. I'm sure you have an awesome solve, which I call theories.
Theory is
Yeah,
a good call.
theories.
I
Yeah.
was always the one saying, I don't even have a solved theory. I don't have anything. I just have my work that, didn't lead. It was, only got so far before it was found. But I was always saying how it's a theory, but, I've got a sciencey background. I used to work in a molecular biology lab. So, I'm like geeky sciencey person. So when I first entered the community and everyone's like, my solve is here. I'm like, you solved it? I'm like, wait, what? Wait, and so did you all?
what's your scientific method? Show me, give me the references where you got this solved from. I get it. I get it. I'm an engineer, but I get it.
Yeah, I was fascinated by the fact that this terminology had evolved into a solve, right? So, and it had just become part of the linguistic community. It was like it was a solve, and I'm like, it's a theory.
Theory.
It's a theory until you have the chest. The only person who has a solve is the person who solved it and has the chest. But it was just part of the lingo. So I started just accepting it. I even found myself saying once that I don't have a solve. And I'm like, well, technically I don't have a solve, but even if I had a solve, it would only be a solve if I had the chest.
Exactly. I have theories.
Oh, let's hear. Gabe Elkin, Amy Seeks, what gate did Forrest go through if people think it was in Yellowstone? Woohoo! I'm guessing he means what, Yellowstone Gate? Because there's the one that is the famous, Garden Island.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my guess, Gabe Elkin. Jack, Amy Seeks, shy guy from the East. FF never says anything directly. Why start now?
That's so true.
I know he's quite the politician. He's quite the
Yes.
impressive politician. But I don't know. You always have to question the reasoning behind it. Everything has to, it's like, so when he fibbed, why did he fib? When he did this, why did he do this? What were the reasonings? All that kind of stuff. And you kind of develop a psychological profile of someone, and then it becomes a little bit more clear as to when someone will or will not fib and why. And Forrest obviously was quite the politician with the things that he said. And so the better you got to know it, it's like, why would he lie now, right? And so that's why one of the most popular conspiracy theories, of course, is that he had Shiloh, the shy guy, retrieve the chest. And I mean, even though I don't think that's true, what do I know? What do I know? But I mean, even if it was true, I don't know if I could blame him. He had somebody hunting his granddaughter, shoot, could you blame him if he did do that? Even though I don't think he did. I think there was a finder. 86 about theories before I knew we're live. Oh, Roger, because I can. So can you clone me, please? Street Scenes 333. I cloned plasmids, but not people. So if you're a tiny plasmid, I can clone you into another bacterium, but that's it. Okay. Bobby D, I believe the finder found the chest accidentally, then had to reverse engineer it and probably still doesn't know the actual solve. And it Hooley says, I think he fenn angles words more than telling the truth. I think Hooley kind of nailed it there.
Yeah.
There's and that's what
And
you
speak.
do.
And
That's
Mhm.
what you do when you're a puzzle creator. When you don't want to give out just blunt information, but at the same time you want to give something.
Right.
You
Oh, it's
know,
between 5,200 feet in elevation and between 10,000 feet of elevation. Thanks, Forrest.
yeah, 10,200 feet.
10,000. Oh, excuse me.
it's on Earth
Yeah, I'm totally
somewhere,
stuck in them.
the big blue marble. Third right from the sun.
Right. It's like it give you something. Okay.
Narrow it bloody down.
What did you say? I was a bloody cow, right? What?
Cows. Just, I just get hung up on the confirmation bias on your. How do you, what becomes the obvious thing that is a key word that becomes your bias to follow to let you know you're on the right track?
Yeah,
Does
there
that make
has to be some sort of confirmation, but then your brain can still do confirmation bias with your confirmations. So it's tricky. You have to get to know your brain very well.
Yeah, my opinion is no matter what you do, you're going to make a connection, go down a rabbit hole. The difficult part is getting yourself out of that rabbit hole and starting from new. And you say, oh my goodness, I did all this work and I'm going to give it up. And that's the hardest part of the confirmation bias, is giving up that thing, not throwing it away, but putting it on a shelf and starting a whole new idea. And it's like, oh, I'm starting from scratch. I did all this work and I couldn't find anything from it. That's the hard part of this.
so
Confirmers.
if you just stay looking at, like, let's say cars, it's all about cars. If you're able to get yourself off of cars and into stereos, that would be knocking yourself out of your own confirmation groove and looking at something else then. So if you're able to do that, then you've got a better chance at of finding new breadcrumbs to follow.
Yes, but it's so difficult. It's so
No.
difficult to do.
Found that to be so very true. So, scientists, folks, so then you must set up yourself a way to then kick yourself out of that groove and onto something else. Then, right? You would have to create something within yourself, right? Like, make sure you never go down all the way down the rabbit hole to where the person's born.
You have to know where to stop.
That's it. I don't know how else to say it other than we have to figure out everybody. I need to figure out how to stop, how to say after this many hours on this, I didn't come up with anything. And it's so difficult to spend time on something and to give it up. This is what Amy was saying before about the frustration with the forest fen finders that didn't get it. It's like, oh my goodness, I spent all this time, and some people think it's a waste. It's not a waste. You learned some things, you figured some things out. Yes, you were making connections and someone went out and find the treasure chest, but it's not the end of the world. But to get out of confirmation bias, it's so difficult because you're stuck in your brain. It's so hard to get yourself out of a hole and then start a new hole again.
Yes. It's like, okay, so if you're a really good painter, you want to be a sculptor, you really have to stop painting. So, you know what I mean? It's a bit like, or if you really want to stop playing blues and those chord progressions, you really have to stop playing the blues. You know what I mean?
It's like gambling. When you gamble and you have already, you're down, like you're at the blackjack table, you're down $1,000, you have 500 more, and you think, I'm already down 1,000. I have to keep going. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm already down 1,000. I'm already down 1,000. Right. And so when you, the more you've risked, the harder it is to let that go. The harder it is to say, I'm going to let go of that work. I'm going to be okay with having that loss, because yes, like my brain is better at doing certain things, but honestly, it felt like the end of the world. I will be perfectly honest with everyone. So if anyone else is feeling this, it's true. I knew that it wasn't. I knew that technically nothing had changed, but it felt like the end of the world. It felt like, what was the point? And that's why I made that video, because I wanted to say, hey, I feel it too. It feels like the end of the world. What do I have left?
Me too.
Yeah, Susie did a video that was really not, spot on. She was just really kind of emoting the whole emotional letdown of it all, and I was just like, yes, homegirl.
Yeah, have some
Me too.
after that video.
Yeah.
Oh. It hurt.
Yeah, tough pill to swallow. That whole, that whole night when it was announced. It's That pill still isn't, it's stuck right here. It's not gone yet.
Yeah,
you know?
AJ's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I have not had the same ups and downs, and I think I've asked. I'm gonna name drop Capro again. It's like,
Ah.
yes, I have not. I think the Forrest Fenn gives you the higher highs, but it also gives you the lower lows. And so I'm sticking in the lower range of the smaller treasure hunts where, yes, the highs still give you highs, but they're not the Forrest Fenn.
Right.
I can
I know.
understand where $1 million treasure hunt is like, oh, okay, I'm going to spend a lot of time on this and not put it down because it's $1 million treasure hunt. So
Right.
my
You
other
either
ones, I can
focus
put them
on it
down.
or
It's like,
you don't.
I'll work on the weekend, or I've got work to do. I've got my regular job I got to work on.
Yeah.
Guys, I've got this thing I found in the Santa Cruz Mountains. So I found this archaeological find in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and I don't know what to do with it. I've had 2 state archaeologists acknowledge this. So the same frustration of what that became is now what this is. In other words, I find this thing, I bring it to the state, they say, hey, that's really cool, and you're right, it's what you think it is, and no, we're not going to tell anybody, we're not going to do anything, and your name's never going to be on it. And I'm like, well, why don't we want to tell people this is neato? And they're, no, thank you, and no, we're not going to give you an email. So
Thank you and goodbye.
yeah, this I don't know.
Yes.
The
Same
frustration
frustration.
is just too much.
Yes, and there's been people, and I have to say, it is very sweet of you people who have wanted me to look at your theories. But I am nobody. I am not Forrest. Nothing I say or think matters because I didn't solve it, and I am not Forrest. But if I had the time, if I had, more time, I'd look at all of them. If I had the time, I would look at all of them and have so much fun poring over your ideas. But I'm nobody. It doesn't matter what I think at all. And you should be so proud of the fact of what you did on your own.
You say that, but I really think collaboration helps in most situations, particularly when
solve it.
To solve something. Yes, I know you're talking about now, but I'm talking about like more big picture, because we've all got we talk about confirmation bias. We've got our own individual experiences. So, what do you think of this? Now, maybe with the Forrest Fenn, it's not that great of a. I've talked with this with different people, and it's like, well, there's the treasure's too much. You need to have a contract, and you need to have all this. It's like, oh goodness, it's you just want, this is my idea. It's like, well, it could be right. It's like, what about this? Well, that could be good. I think the group think, and then even just one other person, it's got to be so much helpful in figuring out these treasure hunts. But there's a downside to it too, and I can see that too. So I used to think more people is always better, but maybe it's not always better.
Well, I think it is for the hunts where it's less complicated. I'm very excited about the beacon zoom, that I missed to go live. But I mean, that's what I mean. I just got the book, right? So I got this book, right? The beacon.
Randy has been in the chat too. He's been in the chat here for you.
And I got this one, Beacon Star. Because it's got some ciphers in it. Oh, diggity.
There's one that hasn't been solved in there too.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So so there's one in here that, is it the medallion or the $500 prize? I forget now.
It's the $500 prize, I believe.
Okay. So if I have this wrong, Jenny Kyle, I apologize, but there's a prize still left to be found in this one if you can solve it. And so like for the smaller hunts like that, I think it can be very healing after the Forrest Fenn one. If we, collaborate, because it's not $1 million, so we can collaborate. And then all of a sudden we're not all secretly doing our own thing, and we can solve it. Like, what was it? Oh, was it Mr. Clue or Master Mophios who had the Maori language in one of their parts of their, I wish I could remember what it was now. I haven't had a lot of sleep this week. Doing the YouTube channel and like all this stuff, I haven't had a lot of sleep. But anyway, one of them had, when you solved the cipher, it gave you this this words, which would have looked like gibberish unless you knew the Maori language. And I'm familiar with the Maori language. So if I had collaborated with that person, they would have said, "Ah, I got this, but it's gibberish." And I would have been like, "Oh, that's Maori, that's New Zealand." I'm like, right? And so collaboration really, I mean, I agree, AJ, collaboration is the way to do it if you can. And when it comes to these smaller hunts, what's stopping you? Right? It's like I'm okay with collaborating and somebody else claiming $1,000. I'm okay with that. I'll be sad, right?
Maybe you want
but
credit, give me credit for helping or something.
Credit's overrated. Credit's overrated. You have to be content with yourself first. You got to be content. It's like if you knew you did it, you did it. That's all you need. But yeah, so obviously since we're at the mercy of the shy guy from back east, all we can do is try and fill that void for now. And that's why I keep calling those videos the Forrest Fenn void. Because nothing will be that. We can't. It's like finishing a book series that you love, or something like that, like the Harry Potter series. When you finish that and you're like, well, I'm ruined for life. No book will ever be this series. No, and that's the Forrest Fenn hunt. Nothing will ever be the Forrest Fenn hunt. Cheers, Forrest.
Forrest.
Why?
No kidding. The rest just pale in comparison. It's like, I can't, it's just, I know.
Captain
Cheers.
Marvel says, Amy
Here's-
Seeks, do you think the finder is working on other treasure hunts? I'm guessing the finder is overwhelmed with what he's dealing with right now. But God,
Yeah.
I have no idea. I know nothing.
How could he? Like, we can't barely move and find and start another treasure hunt. Can you imagine what that person feels like? The last thing on their mind is, okay, what treasure hunt's next? It's
I
like
know. I am
their own treasure hunt that they're creating for us. I
yeah.
hope so.
I mean, I am desperately trying to move on to the next treasure hunt. I'm trying very hard.
I can't. I
Good
can't
job.
do it. Right? It's just too.
Get it.
Uh-huh.
I know but you have to make the effort. You have to try. I don't want to.
I don't want to.
Alan Kay is really good at doing videos. He's in the room right here. And I talked to him about someday doing this video about this thing I found in the Santa Cruz Mountains. So maybe my project is to follow the archaeological thing that I've got there and make a presentation about what this is and put it out there. Maybe we can get it on a freaking History Channel or something. I mean, it's kind of an interesting find. Maybe we can promote it, do something with it, make a. What's happened is the Zephyr Environs is a tree organization, redwood tree organization that is in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and they have recently been part of the millions of dollars that have been spent on an amphitheater up there in the Skyline Santa Cruz area, and they actually have a theater. And I was hoping that maybe I could get something that was slick enough, maybe with Alan, because he's really good at that stuff.
Alan is very good at those things.
Presentation of this find of what's known as the summer solstice serpent in the mountains up there. So maybe that's a project I'm gonna follow up on. It's heartbreaking, but it is I think it's educational. I think it's worth following to that degree.
So you think you're going to pursue that?
Alan says he's into it, so right on. So at some point I have to give Alan all the photos and the information. He lives not too far from there. So
And Jack says, nobody I know wants to go to another treasure hunt. I don't. Come on, finder, help us out.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. That's the thing, though. That's where I think we need to use our frontal cortex here. Nothing we can do will speed up the process, slow it down, change it. It's out of our hands. And I think the sooner we accept being helpless, because in reality, life is always like that. We just have this illusion of control. The sooner we accept the fact that what we do isn't going to change what happens in this situation, then we can start figuring out what our next move is. Stop being in this stasis effect. But I don't think that means we can't talk about it. I think talking about it is necessary to get to that stage. I mean, if we don't talk about it,
Absolutely.
yeah, we need to listen and we need to talk. We need to figure out, and you're going to find out that so many other people are going through the same thing.
No.
My brain goes to these other treasure hunts and is like, I'm like, oh, this is not the Forrest Fenn hunt. This is not. I can't help it. That's what my brain wants to do. But I know that that's not healthy. I know that that is a bad brain move.
That's irrelevant. Knowing that is irrelevant.
You can't trust your brain.
You can't control it, I mean.
But you can choose. So like I'm feeling all of those things, but I'm choosing to do something else. I'm choosing to go on Priddle Mondays and get into a riddle and words on stream. And I'm choosing to go onto the Beacon Star Zoom. And I am forcing myself to keep moving forward because I know that's the healthy thing to do.
Come on, you got to say that again. That is a bad brain move.
Well, it is. It is a bad brain move.
That is just such a great mental health statement. Is this good for your brain? What moves are you making? I mean, that is brilliant. I love that. That's a bad brain move. Should I ingest all this alcohol? That's a bad move.
Brain move.
If you can't learn to not trust your brain, you're going to find yourself in all kinds of trouble. Your brain, it does not always tell you the truth. And my brain tells me to latch on to the Forrest Fenn hunt and just hold on for dear life. And I know that that's not good for me.
Exactly.
It's because we need resolution. We need validation. We need that.
But
we
don't always get that.
Yeah.
Ah.
She just took all the furniture. I came home and there was nothing.
Yes, right? We don't.
I found out she moved to Wyoming. That's all I know.
And when we don't get resolution, we refuse to move on. It's like without resolution, I'm not moving on, right? We latch on.
If we don't know why they're gone and we don't know what, it's still, no matter what, if it's like somebody passed away suddenly, like
or
you disappeared. And it's like, what? What? It's like you still need to know what happened. Where'd they go?
Like
what happened?
If your kid wandered off into the woods and disappeared, or your sister or your mom or somebody disappeared and never showed up again, you're lost in that mire of not knowing and you can't move forward. Are they dead? Are they alive? Are they missing? Were they taken? Are they somewhere safe? Can I find them? Will I ever find them again?
No.
And that's where we're at. And if
it feels that very same. It feels that it's that unresolved and that need for validation. It's just can't be helped.
The need for validation, which you're so not going to get. I'm like, that is
no from anybody. And that's why we're all here. We're all looking for validation from each other. Like
not there. Have a drink, have some chocolate, have some ramen soup, have a walk in the woods. The validation is not coming. And just some
carbohydrates, sugar, bring it.
Because I can says Amy Seeks, could back east mean that that it's not the East Coast? I think it could be anything east of the foothills of the Rockies. That's a big area. Yeah, technically back east could be that. I'm guessing it means more East Coast, but again, what do I know? And Bobby D says, Amy Seeks, but unless Forrest Fenn did buy the chest back, the finder still doesn't have any more money than he had before. That's the same way with the Beale treasures with no cash option. Then what? Yeah. So the finder, with it just being gold, technically until he sells something, he has nothing except for a secured future in case the world collapses, and he could bargain with gold. Which, hey, the world's on its way there, I think. So
gold's on the way up.
Yes, precious metals are going up, which is never a good sign for the economy. So save those pennies, people. Save them.
That's right.
But yeah, it's true. There's some others I missed. Let me see. Ice cream
When
short that came from.
girlfriend leaves
Oh,
you,
okay.
always like to
Send
know
it to me
what
later,
you
Bill.
did wrong, and we don't even get to. This chick, when she left us, she took the cat, she took the favorite silverware, she took the plate, she took the weird stuff. We don't know why. You know, why did she take the seat covers? We don't get to. What did I say wrong? We don't know. She's just gone.
She's got. I love Davia's analogy is the woman, the woman who is left and taken everything, and you come back home, and it's like, dear God, she took the cat.
I love that cat. And she took the cat. I named the cat, and she took it.
She took the cat. I can't. She took the cat.
This whole discussion led me to, I had to go onto Google because this is where I get my information from Google. I had to look up the 7 stages of denial because I think this is what we're talking about. Shock or disbelief, denial, bargaining, guilt,
Totally.
anger,
Big time.
depression, and acceptance or hope.
No, I went tick, tick, tick all the way to the last one.
You already at the last one. You're at the last one. That's good. So is there still?
That tick isn't there yet.
We haven't got any hope. Where's the hope? I hope we get to find
Where
out.
is the hope?
There's the hope.
Okay.
Hope.
Okay. Read those over one more time.
Sure.
And everyone in the chat, put in the chat room what stage you're at.
What
Where
stage
you're
of?
stuck.
Oh, yeah, what stage of denial are you stuck in? So 1 is shock or disbelief. I think that was what Susie was talking about earlier. Shock from the day it happened. 2 is denial. 3 is bargaining. 4 is guilt. 5 is anger. I think a lot of people are stuck on anger. 6 is depression. And 7 is acceptance and hope. These are the 7 stages of denial. So chat, you can put in whatever number you're in right now.
Let us know where you're at. Let us know what stage you're at.
I'm at the stage of consuming all of the alcohol. I'm kidding. I'm at the stage door. Exit stage left. I'm at fill in blank.
Stage left.
That's it.
My camera keeps blowing me out and I'm looking like a ghost.
Stages of denial, Redneck Express. Stages of denial.
I'm denying my denial.
She's denying her denial. She's in the denial stage of
I
denial.
deny that I am in denial.
All right, also in denial. That is stage 2.
You know, we do need some hope. That would be nice to have hope. Because the search for me was hope. There is a faint chance everything's going to be okay if I just figure out the next 4,700 parts that is necessary to come to one conclusion. That's all. I'm not denying any. Yeah, right. So, I mean, even that fine thing was even more hopeful than looking around my bloody government, my, the employment situation, anything like that. The chance I would get a date. No, I can find a treasure. Really, just give me the book. It's bizarre how I could, delude myself into thinking that this is more possible than actually me having a conversation with some chick at Starbucks.
You and everybody else, Davio.
We're all dreamers here. We're all dreamers. It is not a logical thing to look for a treasure. It's not a logical thing.
You know what, AJ? That's the right word. Dreamers are necessary, and there sure shit ain't enough of them lately. So I think we are, what do you call it? Not dream catchers. We're dream freaking waterers. We're dream spawners. We're
Weavers.
Yes.
Captain Marvel says, we all saw Amy's depression.
Oh.
It's on video, apparently.
It's well documented. There was wine and chocolate.
But she might not still be there. She was there on that day, but maybe she's not still there.
That's right. I'm still heartbroken, but I am forcing myself to move forward because I know it's the right thing to do. And I hate it.
I hate it.
I hate doing what's good for me. Right? It's like broccoli. It's like, okay.
Broccoli? No.
Well, the broccoli's kind of good.
Yeah. I can dig it.
It's like eating, what's a bad veggie? It's like eating lima beans.
Yeah, lima beans.
But they're good for you.
Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of things that are good
Oh,
for
here
you.
we go. Because I can says, what stage is it where you just can't stop thinking and trying to figure it out?
Yeah.
It sounds
There's
like
a lot.
obsession.
AJ, go back to that list and
All right,
tell us.
I'll look for the stages of obsession if there is such a one.
Yeah.
Stages of obsession. Oh shit.
Letting go.
Left the trampoline behind. That's hilarious. That's what Sam Searcher says. She took everything, but she left the trampoline. That's goddamn funny.
That's hysterical, actually.
God. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean,
Alan Kay.
It's like, oh,
say, like
Alan
failure
Kay,
and
you're
hummus.
hysterical.
Like failure and hummus.
that's great. Failure tastes like, no. Brussels sprouts taste like failure.
And hummus. I'm sorry,
Oh,
sorry,
my God.
hummus.
Oh,
My apologies
man.
to hummus. I'm sorry.
What would be the most valuable treasures in the world? Says Captain Marvel.
What's that?
I'm reading a comment from Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
Captain
what-
Marvel's asking me, what would be the most valuable treasures in the world? Is it going to be
Time.
some time? Oh, it's not like love or something metaphorical, something like that.
Is it bad that I would choose time over love?
Time is, I would choose time too. Eve.
Time over
First
love.
thing.
Still work out.
I'm very content when I'm on my own. I'm
Okay.
great company. I know when to go to bed. I know when to end the date. I'm a great date on myself.
Hey, I work
talking.
my real life job. I work for my time off. I like to say that's what I work for. I work for my time off. I do appreciate my time.
You have
too.
a fun job though. You do.
Okay.
That video of you going over the bridge, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. If I could have been an engine nerd, if I could have gone to like MIT or something, oh, that would have been awesome. But I'm kind of dumb and numbers get screwed up in my head. I'm with Davio and Susie. Numbers flip around. So in physics class, I would do the 14 pages of compilations. And I had the theory right. I had the concepts right.
Oh,
but at
but
the
the
end,
details.
you put 1/6 into a 9 and
Okay.
wrong.
So you're a big picture. You're a big picture woman. I am the details guy. That is me.
Oh, now see, and that is why you collaborate on treasure hunts like that.
There you go. That's
Big
it.
picture someone. All right. I'm a details guy. I get all the little things, try to work them out.
You're an engine nerd. I know.
But
I like engine nerds. They're my bestest friends.
But the big picture stuff gets past me. That's the downside.
See?
So how are you on concepts? Theoretical concepts.
Theoretical concepts. You have to be more specific.
For
Because
instance,
I'm an engineer.
like electrical universe versus not. In other words, currently there's a big conversation.
I'm open-minded.
Right now, we made a hadron collider to discover to see if the origins of the universe, and it failed. And so now we're on a paradigm of understanding the universe as an electric universe, and that's all taken off in the last 10 years, and it's extremely
But
exciting.
they did find the Higgs boson.
But they didn't. It proved to be nothing. They didn't prove anything of all
It
that.
didn't prove to be nothing.
That's
No.
all the papers that I've heard.
No. Oh, I have some physicist friends who would be very sad to hear that.
Physicists that would they need to see Ben Davidson. Have you seen him every morning?
Not every morning, just on the weekends. No.
See,
I'm making a joke. I'm sorry. A bad joke. Bad joke.
that is a very good joke. That was very fast. I love it.
Oh,
No, is he the guy who's got the solar flare stuff, or is that the other guy?
Well, solar flares is a very extremely small fraction of it all of it. Yes, it's all
Okay.
about how the weather is changing. We're heading for an ice age. Blah 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 blah. It's
Well, there's
it's
a lot of potential for a lot of those just based off. I studied climate science. I was a climate scientist for a brief moment in college.
right.
And I actually had a professor who was, oh God, maybe it's the same guy. He was actually he was more concerned about the ice age than the global warming aspect of it long term, even though the global warming hits us sooner, where the ice age hits us longer, depending on which catastrophe is headed our way. And God forbid it be an asteroid too, or something else, or a solar flare. There's so many great ways to die on this planet. That's just the truth. It's amazing that, we've evolved enough to be able to converse and even talk about it at this point. But that's why, for me, the most precious thing is time. So like, if I could just have all the time in the world, I'd be okay to just not ever have anything else, just time to see how everything evolves and everything turns out. But and that's like, before going on and doing this show, right? Doing this show, I have a channel now. When did that happen? How do I have a channel? Why are you people watching me, right? It's crazy. and it's so anxiety ring. Just so all of you at home know, when I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna go live again. And I'm going to have people on, and guess it's nerve-wracking. It's so nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking to be a guest, but it's still, it's like, I want to do it.
Well, that's where the whole, live your life, the end is not ever drawing nigh. That's probably the most true statement in that poem. The end is ever drawing nigh, and there's nothing we can do about it. Nobody in the history of time has escaped that. So if you're gonna do something and it's a good thing, then do it. And so that's why I'm doing this channel, because people keep saying that it's helping. And, anybody knows that that's the best feeling in the entire world. If I can't have time, at least I can help in the time that I have.
There you go.
Well, you're helping right now. You're helping me right now. Anything that we can get closer to processing this.
Just even talking about it, right?
Helpful. Yes.
Yes.
It's
And
still
that's
processing, it's
Yeah.
still.
Yep. And it's going to take a while to process, because it's such a big hurt. The longer we don't know anything, the harder it's going to be to not let go. And that's the thing. I don't think we don't need to let go of being interested in it and wanting to know what's happened, but we have to let go of wanting to be in control of what happens. That's what
How do you do that? Good.
Yeah.
That's
Great
right.
host. Jack says great host. I agree.
It's the truth. We don't have control, and that's it. It's like if your house gets robbed, all of a sudden you feel like, where did my control go? All of a sudden nothing you do or have or is control. Or if you're robbed personally, we all have this veil of control. We all have this veil of what the world is, and it's constantly being ripped away by things that are happening. And right now it's completely ripped away by some shy guy from back east. So it's understandable that people are angry at him or at Forrest and all that kind of stuff. But that's where you have to use your frontal cortex and say, okay, in reality, I took the risk. I spent the time on it. I chose to do all of those things. And I chose to do them even though I knew that it's possible it's a hoax. It's possible the chest isn't out there. It's possible I won't find it. It's possible, all of those things were always possible the entire time. So when you take a risk, you have to ask yourself constantly if it's worth it. You have to constantly ask that. If I spend today working on the chase, is it worth it to me? Am I okay if it's found tomorrow? And I had to face that every day I worked on the chase. I had to say, okay, instead of going hiking, instead of going rock climbing, instead of going camping, instead of going, metal detecting, I'm going to work on the chase. And I knew that I might not find it. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. It doesn't.
I never had that consideration that it was not going to be me, or that somebody else is going to find it. I knew about, okay, the whole time, do I have time? is this okay that I'm spending this much time? You know, I took all that into
Time.
consideration, but I
Right.
never took into consideration that somebody else was gonna find it. I just couldn't bring myself to do that.
That's an important one. You got to remember that one because it's like
No, that was not even, that was like a, you know, it's like, oh, maybe somebody else will find it. Like, no, that's not possible. And then just brushed it off. And
And Captain Marvel says, Amy Seeks, do you think that the finder was just lucky, or do you think that it was their
No.
destiny?
Neither. They
Destiny.
worked hard. They
I
were
think
one
they
of
worked
us.
I want to believe in destiny. I always want to believe in destiny and numbers. I want to believe in those things all the time, but I don't. But I'm open to it. I want
Exactly.
to believe, but I'm guessing that the finder worked his buns off, just like all of us did.
Exactly.
I mean, all of us worked so hard. Why did they not? We want to believe that they didn't because that makes us feel better.
No, they're one of us. They did.
That's my guess.
They had to have,
They worked hard.
they had to have
And
worked
then
hard.
Covert One says, Amy Seeks is an EAP provider for my company. I don't know what that is. What is an EAP provider? Anybody?
Uh,
Covert, you got to tell me what that is.
Maybe it was a typo. A is close to the S on the keyboard. ESP provider. How about that?
See, lateral thinker.
I went immediately to the keyboard to see where the A and the S was.
I know. Did you count the number of letters in each one?
EAP is actually Employee Assistance Program, which is usually the counseling that you get when you're going through a rough time.
Oh,
Oh,
There you go. You're a counselor, Amy.
Holy.
Thank you, Huli. The voice.
you got to do that more often where you just come in and just lay down the freaking facts, babe. That's just the bomb.
Yeah.
I need that voice in the background as I'm going through life. Oh, I don't know. Maybe should I go to McDonald's? No, McDonald's isn't actually food, Dave. Don't go there.
It
Loved
just
it. That would be beautiful. I mean, just this little wonderful voice in the background that tells me, "No, Dave, don't pee in the light socket." That idea, you know.
don't French kiss that light socket. Just don't
Don't
do it.
that
It's
light
not
socket.
gonna be good for you. As much as you want to, don't do it.
we hit the 3 hour mark. You crazy people.
Let's see, Bobby D. Amy Seeks, I don't think people are angry at him. I don't know if it means Forrest or the finder. They are angry at all the secrecy. If you or Davia or Capra or Cynthia, etc., would have found it, we would be happy for them. Oh, would you? I think people would hate me desperately. I think all of a sudden these people are like, I like Amy. They'd be like that. And I wouldn't blame them. I totally would understand. I'd be like, that's okay. I get it. I get it. No, the secrecy is painful though. I remember situations where, a recording of an interview that somebody had done, 5 years ago would finally come out by some reporter somewhere. And it had information in it that I thought was helpful. And I'm like, oh, that's again what you accept. That's what you accept when you enter a treasure hunt. You have to face that reality that life is not fair. Life sucks.
It's not fair. It's not even close to fair.
No, and the only way to make it not suck is by actively making it not suck for you and the others around you. Life is not fair in so many ways, and we're so fortunate when it is fair. So was I angry, right? To hear some reporter have this information for 5 years? Yeah. Did I do anything about it? No, because that's what it is. There's, it's like, yeah, it's upsetting. Yes, it's upsetting. What can I say? There were tons of times where I just was driven nuts because I was like, oh, I wish I had that information. But that's what you enter into when you do something like this. And all treasure hunts are like that. People who search for the lost Dutchman mine, right?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
there's 0 degree you're going to find it, and there's even less known that it exists. At least this one, we had a better chance that it existed. Whether it was fair or not, that's what you're entering. It's like, well, I'm going to take that risk.
I have sort of a different feeling in that the things that are sort of the lost treasures, the lost Dutchman's mine and things, I have zero interest in those just because
Because there's
they,
no guarantee.
well, it's that maybe some of them are true and there's something there, but it's such a high possibility that there's nothing there that would feel like a waste of time to me if I spent all that time. So
Yeah.
I like these where there's an actual thing hidden and we know it's there.
Yes.
And I'm not really into the lost treasure stuff.
Yeah,
Personally.
the risks are much smaller. It's more likely that there is something there. They might still end badly, like the masquerade did. There's still a chance that that could happen. But yeah, it's true. And now obviously there's these exceptions, like the wreck of the Atocha. I mean, oh wow, right? But even he was in a legal battle for how many years just to keep it? He was, I mean, it was years, like 5 years or something crazy. So you have to expect those kinds of things with treasure hunts. But that's the thing with these smaller ones, you get aha moments, and you don't go through legal battles, and you don't get, like AJ said, you're not on the high highs, you're not on the low lows, and that's why I'm forcing myself to enter into my own personal contract with these smaller treasure hunts, just because I know it will be good for me. I know that some of these will have little aha moments that will be real and verifiable, as opposed to this massive thing. So, and then real quick, because I can, says Amy Seeks, was anyone focused more on the treasure or the hunt? I was focused on the hunt because in reality, my odds were almost 0. I think we all agree with you there. Personally, I was in it for the money. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I was in it for the cash, and it wasn't until it was over that I realized I'm going to tear up. Okay, sorry.
Oh, I can add on to this a little bit. I'll let you go next, Susie. But Toby, I asked Toby in the chat one time, is like, if the Forrest Fenn treasure was, let's say, $100,000, would you have spent the time in the research, the time in boots on the ground? And he said no.
Yep.
And I don't see anything wrong with that. Just so you know.
Yep.
Life-changing, adventure here is the idea, because I have a lot of imagination. It requires much funding to pull off all the crazy stuff that I can imagine, just in art projects and helping friends and collaborations and all this kind of stuff. It takes piles and piles of cash. So yes, highly motivated by the money and validation of being the one smart enough to have figured it out.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
being dyslexic, dropouts, and all that kind of stuff, to have someone go, well, look at that thing that guy figured out. Golly, give me my fake diploma along with the chest. Thank you very much.
I know, but in the end, for me, it really did end up being about the community, and
that's what's holding it together, right?
It was. I mean, the experiences. I never thought I was going to be that person. Like, it was all about the journey. And it was. It ended up being, obviously, if I had found the treasure, I don't know how I would have felt about it. But some of the
it's life changing, no doubt about it. Whoever found it, it's a life changing thing. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just remember thinking over and over again, what am I going to do if I do find it? What am I going to do for the community? I'm like, what? Because I was just predicting the pain that was going to happen. And
I did that same thing. It's like, what if I do find this? That's such a huge responsibility to the rest of the people. You're crushing so many dreams. Do you leave it there? What do you do? Do you really, I did that same thing. I was so confident in myself that I had to make that those thoughts came through my mind. It's like, what if I do figure this out? Because that's huge,
Yeah. I think a lot of us had that concern. Oh God, what if I do find it?
I'm gonna have to take off, but I wanted to say thank you, and can we do this again soon? I love this therapy.
Yeah, we've been 3 hours, maybe it's, you
Oh my
know.
gosh. Oh, I keep doing these unintentional mini marathons.
They're totally
It's
what's
so
needed.
fun.
I mean, you've got, look at this, you got 80 people after this long, so that's worth it.
Oh my Lord. Well, I hope it's helping.
So I think it's terrific. So I wanted to say thank you. I'm going to go play some poker with some friends. And
Oh,
AJ, outstanding. And oh, my Miss Hecky, always so good to see you, my dear. You're my sister from another mother.
Great to see you, Davio.
I've heard it called
poker,
sister from
Davio.
another mister. Sister
luck.
from another mister.
Good. That's it. Mail will happen. Mail.
Now will happen. Sooner or later, it will happen.
Possibly with some interaction, possibly some involvement, but mail will happen. Honey, thank you very much.
Davio, are you going up against K-Pro
Go. Oh, probably.
in
She's
poker?
Yeah, I've only beat her a few times. She's wicked. She's really
Good luck.
3 Jack right on Jack. So people in there that I'm and Captain Marvel and all the names I see in the chat, thank you, and everybody whoever pays attention to me, thank you very much. Much love, everybody. Much love.
I'll see you for pancakes, Davio.
Yeah.
Pancakes. Good call.
Good luck, Davio.
Hooli, my ghost. Thank you, love. Thank you. Ciao.
Don't eat McDonald's.
Don't eat McDonald's. The little angel on your shoulder.
Stop eat. Never eat there. I don't. Thank you. Love you.
Thanks for joining, Davio. That's too funny. 78 people. We're not even talking about anything in it. It was supposed to be Yellowstone.
Amy, may I just interject?
Please.
So you all were talking about priorities in the chase, and I'm really embarrassed by my lack of knowledge of history and the Rocky Mountains. And I'm so thankful to Forrest Fenn for the education, the full-on education that he's given through the chase in so many facets: art, history, geography. So, I mean, I think, we all started for the money, but I think we're all ending for the right reasons. So thank you for having this open forum for all of us.
Aw. Yeah.
Yes, well said, Hooli.
Well said,
Yeah.
Hooli.
As always, you're very well spoken, even in chat. And you can interject anytime. Well, I'm really glad it did. I mean, yeah, I guess we can start off talking about whatever, but we do end up talking about the psychology of the chase. Maybe I should just title the next video, "The Psychology of the Chase."
You'd still have 100 people in here with you because we're still all,
Yeah, I know. It's been rough. And hopefully one of these, like the Beale hunts, are exciting because they're supposed to be $1 million and all this stuff, but it's such the antipode of the Forrest Fenn chase that it's hard to move on into something like that, even though I love metal detecting, even though I love that kind of just fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing. I do adore that kind of treasure hunt.
It's a perfect storm. It's the Rocky Mountains. Who doesn't like the Rocky Mountains if you like the outdoors?
Yeah.
We've got Forrest Fenn, the character at the top. It's like a religion. I get it. I'm a little bit outsider, but I get it.
Oh, you're so an insider. You were watching. Come on.
I'm an interested observer.
You are, but you're so an insider. You were aware of all the craziness that was going on. And we were, oh man, nobody, like I say, nobody knew I was going through it all. They just saw me as this person who showed up at Fenn and said, hi. And they saw the video and they're like, whoa, damn, girl.
Respect.
Like, oh, that's all. No, I don't know if respect was the word.
That's what I came up with. Like, whoa, you put mine to shame.
He's one of us. One of us.
One of us. It's right away. It's like, she's one. She's one. I get her. I see you.
Yeah, I was one of everyone, and it was funny because But at the same time, I'm not someone who, I mean, I still to this day think I was on the right track. You know, and unfortunately, I'm still in the running as far as where it was found. It would have been easier if it was harder and easier, right? Rip the Band-Aid off if it was New Mexico. Just rip the Band-Aid off and move on. So, but you know, I'm definitely not someone who is like, oh, I so knew where it was and it was my solve and you have to watch me. And I'm like, don't watch the video, just watch the beginning and the end. The beginning and the end was made for everyone who is suffering. And the middle part is really boring. It is me talking about all my work. Boring. So, so yeah, I think everyone needs to come to terms with being okay with where they're at with their work and waiting. And then in the meantime, filling that void with something healthy. Something that, and that's why I'm like Priddle Mondays, right? Although even though I don't want the competition because I don't like the competition because all of a sudden I get real dumb real fast. I think I'm all smart. There's like 10 people in the room.
Oh, they're just fast typers. That's all it is. That's how I say. It's not lag. It's just these people are just fast typers.
I don't know how many times I refresh your page just so I can, like, I'll have it on my phone and I'm like, no, he's talking faster there. And so I'm like refreshing my page until it's talking fast enough so I can be like, but I love the new rules for the words on stream one because it prevents you from just, you know, getting them all. And I'm like, okay. I love this.
All right, I watch words on stream on other streamers, and actually it's generally negative because people don't like having that restriction put on them. Well, but you enjoy it.
Well, but I think things should be fair for people.
Or fair, so. Okay, not enjoy, but you think it's more fair. I got it.
Well, it's more enjoyable for me because all of a sudden I have a chance.
I get it.
So I think it makes it more enjoyable for the majority. Because it limits the number of times. So if anyone in the chat doesn't know what we're talking about, come on Priddle Mondays. And basically it is it's a words on stream. It's like a anagram city.
Boggle. I like Boggle, the example. Yeah.
It's like Boggle. Basically they have these letters up top and you have to write the words that they anagram to. And there's certain rules and stuff like that. And one of the new rules is that if you type one in and get it right, it'll show up. So you type it in the chat and it shows up on the screen as bing, you got it right, but then it locks you out and you can't write anything again for a little bit. And so that allows everyone else to write a word in. And so it keeps it a lot more even. And I really like that. But you know, the people who are really good hate it. Because they can't, you know, they're not top dog anymore because they can only enter one and then they have to wait and they have to enter one. So yeah, I don't know. So you guys have to check it out. Words on stream gives me anxiety, Huli says. Me too. My hands are so sweaty. I'm like talking and I'm like, I'm like, oh.
They're just emoji cookies. That's all they are.
Well, we don't even get cookies for words on stream.
Oh yeah, you don't even get cookies for words on stream. It's the competitiveness. All right, it's very competitive. People are competitive. I get it. Well, I can be competitive too.
It's the speed too. It's a timed thing. So there's this little bar across the top and it's slowly running out of time. And you're like trying to type these in. And if you don't type in enough, then you don't get to move on to the next round. And the next round gets more difficult. And then they have a one block where it's a letter, but they don't tell you what letter it is. And then there's one where there's a false letter and you don't know what the false letter is. So yeah, Huli, I'm with you. It's palm sweaty time. But again, your brain is happier for it. So do it. Words on stream. No, don't, because then I'll have more competition.
Yes, Bobby D. I think rebuses are one of the most popular ones. Everybody likes the pictures and try to making words out of the pictures. I think that's one of the most popular ones in the show of the ones that I've done. I try to do quick puzzles, things that just solve quickly, and that's one of the most popular ones, I think.
Yeah, the rebuses are fun. Oh, those are so much fun. Even when I don't get them, they give you an aha moment. The rebuses probably give you the best
Yes.
little aha moment.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's probably why people like them then.
Yeah, yeah. And they're so cute and fun the way they are. So look up what a rebus is and you'll see what we're talking about. And you'll love this, everyone. So whenever he's going down and he's looking at a website that has riddles on it, if it's a math riddle, he goes, no math. And he moves on. No math.
Okay, there's a reason for that, because there's things like pen and pencil puzzles, and a live stream isn't really set up for people to let me put my phone aside, laptop, and let me get out this piece of paper and do some math. So
Yeah,
it's not that I don't like math. I'm an engineer.
Yes.
But it's a matter, it doesn't work for the live stream where I have people start up taking a piece of paper out to start working on it.
And it takes time too. You never know how long those are going to take. The math ones take a little bit more time. It's like, so yeah, so most people I think will be happy to know that. I think that's a good thing for those kinds of things because it keeps it moving.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so force yourself, if you want to be brain healthy, force yourself forward, whether it be metal detecting or looking for arrowheads or whatever. Just keep forcing yourself in a forward direction into something that starts to give you a little aha moment. Like start with an easy aha moment thing. Like Priddle Mondays is fast aha moments. Boom, 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 cookie, 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 cookie. So K-Pro stole my cookies. She didn't. I'm teasing.
Oh my.
I like to say that Sassy stole our cookies. Sassy stole our cookies.
Sassy stole our cookies.
He gives us a little emoji.
She is the cookie monster.
Oh, the cookie monster. Cookie.
She's a sharp one.
She's a sharp one. Yeah. So start pushing yourself forward into whatever gives you a little aha moment. Find that high somewhere else. It's not going to be the same. It won't. It just won't. I won't lie. Not. I know. It's not going to. I know. It won't. And Forrest is not going to hide another chest. And 15 years. 15
Good
years.
saying that.
Unless somebody else out there has been working on something like this for 15 years, it's not going to happen. But that's okay. One thing you have to remember is that if it hurts this bad that it's over, that means how great it was. It hurts because it was really great. And
it
that's
was so great. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's why the ending is so bitter.
Yes. So I still have my fingers crossed that we're gonna know. I still have my fingers crossed.
Oh, I think so. It's just a matter of time, I don't think, how could you be the finder and sit on the information? Wouldn't you want to? If you really figured it out and cracked it and got all the clues, wouldn't you just be like, oh my God, more. Oh my God. The story is too good. You need to remember he's one of us. And so, he's gonna want to spill this. It's all a matter of time. It's all a matter of whatever. We don't know what's going on in the background right now and all the moving parts behind it. But I do think it's gonna be, we're gonna know this stuff. It's just gonna be, who knows when.
I hope
I agree.
so too.
I think it's going to come out at some point. I just don't know when, but the answers will come.
So if it does come out, someone most likely will be a second place loser. Like, someone is most likely going to have been close. And I just wonder what that's going to be like. Is it going to be awful for that person? Or is it going to be gratifying for that person?
I think it would be, I don't know.
Or
I
both?
think it would be great. I think I'd feel, if I was right on it or right near it or, was so close to I think I would be more proud of, I think I would feel proud of myself. And I think, there would be stages of grief as well.
be this whole 7 stages again.
Exactly.
Because you don't get anything for a second place in this thing. You get nothing. You know, you just, I mean, you might get people in the
Zoom
community
meetings
who say, good
that
job.
last 3 hours about nothing.
But like literally tomorrow, there could be another notification or a book published or Forrest Fenn validating all of this stuff, which is really exciting. And I think that's why we all stick around and wait and have bated breath for this treasure hunt.
Oh,
And if
there's
I
the
were,
voice of optimism out of nowhere.
and if,
Yay!
and if I were the finder, Susie, same as you, I would have gone straight to Forrest Fenn. I would have loved the face on, first of all. But then second of all, I mean, who doesn't want to know the provenance of all those items and sort of to get a history? But then after that, you've got time to make life decisions and maybe to sort of shelter yourself from some of the drama. But you also have to consider we're in a time of national or international pandemic that things might be really seriously slowed down in some aspects. So
Right.
I think it's just really a time for hope.
Hope, stage 7.
I say we all
Move
I
to
say
the
we all
hope
kick
stage.
into high gear and stay in the hope stage for a little while.
Yeah, the negativity isn't doing good for anyone.
No, I understand it, but it's not hurting the people who are negative or the people who are throwing the negative.
Let me ask you all this. Have you all considered, we were talking about Yellowstone versus not Yellowstone, but all in Wyoming. And I would love to hear Redneck Express say more about this, but annexing of land after the treasure was placed could have happened.
Oh, you mean by the government or by
Right. And he
right.
talked about borders and borders changing, which he couldn't have changed that really in his book. But he might have already sort of known it was coming or something to that effect. And he had to sort of retroactively question. I mean, why would he spend $8,000 with lawyers or a lawyer? That's still very curious to me.
Yeah. If
Have
it
you
were
all
on,
considered that?
if it were on easy property, you wouldn't need to spend a whole bunch of money on lawyers.
Right. And if it was private property, if it was property that he owned, why would there be so many questions? You know, so it just kind of rules that out for me, or I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
it's on his legend on the map, it says public lands on the top.
On
So I
what map?
believe on the
Too far to walk map.
yes, thank you. Who's the map maker? Benchmark Maps. It says public
Yes.
lands.
Yes.
And then it says on the top right, it says within the highlighted regions of this map. But
Yeah.
and he also makes quite a point in Lorene Mills, one of or several of her interviews, who owns the property, whomever owns the title or the deed
Yes.
could be possibly interchangeable. So, and he says his namesake was for Forrest Levy. And if you look up the word levy, it can be an annex.
His
Like
name
they levy.
what?
His namesake was Forrest Levy, the gentleman from Atlanta.
Oh.
So, and they can never take that away from me. They can never levy that.
Interesting.
I've always wondered if that was part of the clues that came, or if he feels wronged by the government back when his parents owned the land. I don't know.
That would be curious if it had been annexed.
Good one, Hooli.
And who was talking about that? Redneck?
Well, Redneck was talking about the monuments, that Obama did something with the monuments.
As far as
Changed public land from one type of public land to another type.
Yeah, so the oil fields couldn't come in and, you know, or you know, they couldn't mine it or.
And wasn't
or
it Cynthia
drill.
who said that Forrest met with lawyers after it was placed as well? That was like a big controversy for a little bit. Anybody?
Yeah,
What
yes,
now?
I believe that's true, Amy.
Yeah. So, and everyone's like, "What? Why would he meet with lawyers afterwards?" That seems strange. So that would
Yeah,
kind of,
because, well, he said he always knew where he was gonna put it regardless, you know, like he was just gonna make it work, didn't care.
yeah, he was going to make it work no matter what. And that also speaks to difficult land. I was
Yeah,
going to make
that-
it work no matter what.
Yeah, that's kind of Yellowstone-y, you know?
Again, we've solved it. Is Yellowstone. You're welcome.
Probably.
This is where we need Vegas, so we can all make bets. And like if we don't know within a year, then the bets are off, right? It's like everyone can make a bet for 1 year, for 12 months, starting today. Taking all bets, Yellowstone or other. I guess if
Who's the
everyone
Forrest Fenn bookie?
Yeah,
It should be.
that should be AJ's job.
I was gonna say
Yeah, send me
that.
all your money and I will send some out for the winners. Yeah, I like that.
I think that's a good idea. We'll send you cookies.
Cookies. There we go. Then we don't have any problems with the law.
Well, I think, well, there's still, why are there still 70 people? What? Is that right? Is that wrong?
That's what it looks
That's
like.
right. It seems like it.
Oh my God.
They're in the denial stage of
But
denial.
it's, yeah. And
thinking
it's
we
been
should-
3.5 hours and
3.5
there we are.
hours.
But
I was thinking we should end this.
we should
Yes?
end this. It's time
Okay.
to end this. It's been wonderful and great and could do this forever, but let's, yeah.
Well, we'll do it again sometime.
Yes, let's do it again.
We'll do it again sometime for sure. I guess because now apparently I have a channel and I'm also on Facebook. It's so weird, people. Let me just tell you, anyone who's never like done a YouTube channel, it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. All of a sudden people think you're somebody. I'm like, oh, they're so wrong.
It's brave, isn't it? Pretty brave.
Oh, I still sweaty palms before I was like, I'm going live. Oh my gosh. So yes, I get very nervous and I'm sorry I screwed up this one too. I got to figure out how to do a live thing
It's
and
all-
connect it with Zoom and
It's all right. It's free. Everybody is here to come
That's
into your
true. I
house
will
for
give
free.
money
I
back.
tried it. I had the same problem. I used to make just the videos and then I said, you know, I like live streaming and it's so easy because you just push a button and then when you're done, you push the button to end and then there's no more live stream.
Yeah.
So I'm an introvert. I'm not a big talker, but
You are not.
I am.
No.
No, I don't like big crowds. But I'm still an introvert does not mean antisocial. It doesn't mean antisocial.
That's
Still
true.
social. Just I get
Yes.
to control it and I get to control it
Yes.
by pushing the button to start and then I can push the button to end and then I'm back by myself again.
That's true. I have to say that is kind of decadent because as I was like getting ready to go live, I'm like, technically I could be in my pajamas. I'm like, you know, we should, that's a fun show. Pajama party. Bring your hot cocoa, talk Forrest Fenn. Okay. There it is. Who wants
Yes, I'm in.
Sure.
I'm in.
I'm Eve. Okay, well, okay. Oh, I don't know how to end this. I feel so sad.
Well, I know it's gonna be a void as soon as you push in. It's gonna be quiet and empty at my house, and it's gonna be like,
Yes. Okay. So everyone, we're going to be ending this soon, but we're going to do more, right? We're going to meet up again. So we'll think about what we want to talk about next time we meet up and who wants to come on and talk about stuff. And you know what? Think about things that you want to do to fill that void. You know, think about these little delightful, tiny little aha moments that you're going to start filling your life with again. And you have to force it. It's going to be uncomfortable and you're not going to like it, but you have to force it a little bit. You know, eat your broccoli, eat your lima beans.
And then eat your cookies later.
And then on Priddle Mondays, eat the cookies. What's the cookies? Cookie.
Cookies.
I'm telling you, it is fun. It's a way to get your little aha moments in. And so, yeah. Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you so much for having me on and for going live tonight and filling that void for all of us out there. Thank you, Amy, so much.
I love all you guys. I love all you guys. You're a great community. Okay, I'm going to try and figure out. Here we go. We're about ready to end this, everybody. Good night. I love you all.
Separation anxiety.
Take care. That's right. We're all in it together. We're going through the same thing. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.